This is Dayspring with Power of X-Men.
This is Sailor Tortilla.
This is Miracle from Magical Melody.
This is Brooke with the Sailor Moon Fan Network, and you're tuned in to Double Moonlight Justice
With Z and Grayson.
Hey Z,
Hello.
how are you?
Everywhere. How are you?
I'm everywhere too. I'm up since 7 o'clock this morning,
Oh,
listening
Lord.
to you, going through WikiMoon, going through all the musicals. I was just like, let me send Z this Google Doc because I think I went overboard.
I ain't gonna lie. I read everything. I was like, dang, G went hard on this. I went very simplistic.
And I was like, I know Z's gonna try to go simple on this. I was like, but there's 30 years worth of musicals. There's no way we're gonna be able to encapsulate it.
That's why I figured giving a fun little blanket statement. A fun blanket, because there's so freaking much to the fact that performances are now ongoing. Like, there's so much. Like you could do so much on you. So much.
Yes. And let me tell you, I was listening to I Know Starshine from Petit Étranger, and do you realize I am today years old when I realized that Tuxedo Mask says her star power? I was like, wait, what did he say?
Yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. It's beautiful. Like, they actually acknowledge some stuff in these musicals. Oh, okay. Ooh.
So I was like, let me try to get this all typed up so I can give it to Z because she's gonna want to go ham too.
I'm probably gonna bounce off of half of your stuff. I'm not going to lie. Like, you just have it so detailed. I love it.
I was like, musicals are your jam. How can we not go like all the way in? Like, it's just like, that's not fair.
I know they're my jam, but it's just so much. Oh my gosh, that's so funny though. Yesterday I was actually rewatching a lot of the like second and third stage musicals. At least most of them, to get better acquainted. Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm the most acquainted with the first stage and the third stage. The second stage is like kind of wavy, but also I do my stages differently. I organize stages how they're organized here. So like each moon is a different stage. I know officially It's only 3, but I do 4 because it makes it easier on my head.
Yes, so that was one thing I wanted to talk to you about because I was like, I think it'd be easier to break things into stages because I know that we get a lot of new people that listen and have never watched the musicals. That was also one of the reasons why I made a point to find the English version of the musical names and stuff like that. Because I'm
glad
like,
you did, because I have the Japanese.
Because I was like,
translated, but
I was like, Z's gonna say Gaiden Fukatsu Head, and I'm like,
yeah,
that's the Battle of the Dark Kingdom, just so you know.
Bless you. Thank you so much. That's beautiful. I greatly appreciate that. Oh my gosh. Oh, you have so many actors and actresses. Oh my goodness. Because I just did top 3.
I was like, and that's why I was like, I can't do. So I was like, let's rank them. I was like, there's so many actresses that played Sailor Moon alone. I was like, I have to rank them, like all of them. So I type up your intro. So if you want to elaborate on some of your things, you can definitely do that while I'm working on this.
Okay, cool. Dang, let's see what I got on my phone. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think most of these I added in, like the musicals. Granted, they're probably going to be their Japanese counterpart, but I just know when you search up the Japanese counterpart on YouTube, at least with the Bandai musicals, you're more likely to pull it up first.
Yeah. So it's like, I know that if anybody Googles the English, what I'm saying, they will at least pull up WikiMoon.
Yes.
And it'll give them all the information that they need. Yeah. So I was like, yes. Thank you, WikiMoon. It's just like, it's so.
WikiMoon is a real one. That is actually what I used for
I went through all the musicals. I went through all the soundtracks.
Shouts out to you. That's some dedication right there.
I was like, I'm gonna watch Golden Girls. I was like, no, you can listen to Sera Myu while you're doing this research. Right.
That's another thing. Like they'll have like the original musical, then they'll do a revision. It's like,
Yes.
oh yay, Kaitavan. So many of my
Yes.
faves are Kaitavans. Yeah,
Right.
I love it.
Right, especially in the first stage, I was like Sailor Stars
Literally.
and Ian Densetsu, and it's like, oh my gosh, like,
Like how much more can you do? How much more is there to revise? Apparently a lot.
a lot.
I ended up having to reorganize some of my favorite general songs because some of them are technically battle songs. I'm like, I didn't know that. Because when I got introduced to it, they were just singing it for giggles. I didn't know they used this as a battle song. That's good to know. Like, the more Moonlight, I did not know that was a battle song. That never registered as a battle song to me. Most of my faves come from this musical.
It's funny because most of mine comes from Transylvania.
Interesting. See, I kind of figured. I had a feeling. I feel like the Dracula series is going to be your go-to. It's a good series. It's very. This is the one I could not find. I'm pretty sure this is the Nouveau Voyage.
Which one is that?
Viva Viva Dead Moon.
Oh,
No,
More Eternal.
that's a more eternal.
I got my nail cage down pat. Then Bandai's though, I'm like, let me Google it real quick because I don't know.
Because I got it confused with another one that's in the Bandai musical. That's like, the moon circuits from Amazon.
Yes.
I like that one.
And that's from.
Probably,
Is it Aino Senshi? Super
think
Imichi,
so.
something like that.
yeah.
And you know, honestly, that's my least favorite musical.
What?
I feel like the S and Super's version of the musicals were kind of like they were like figuring out their way because I don't think the anime was done by that time, so they were kind of like just making it up as they go.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, this is
This is fascinating. It's not what I thought it would be. They
right.
definitely took some creative liberties because, like,
Yeah.
I found out yesterday, or you know, that Gaiden Dark Kingdom was actually like a sequel to the first season of Sailor Moon.
Exactly.
I didn't know that.
I
I knew
knew
it was
that.
like a revival story, but
That's
I
why
didn't
there's
know that it
no-
was like a sequel.
That's why they never did R.
That's so wild because I know they.
So that
included
was
those
their
at
R.
that point. That's so wild to me. I did not
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, so it's like that musical is literally a follow up to the anime.
Mhm.
And I was like, and that's it kind of like, you know, like the realization hit me like they immediately went from their version of R into S. They never did a proper R like musical until later.
Mm-hmm. Some of these I just put Bandai in general because you can't really, you can pinpoint where it originates, but there's just so many different versions. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, and there's like 4 stages worth. Good grief. Okay.
Right.
I think I have, for the most part, what song is from what musical, as well as, because some of this I did last night. What
Okay.
song is in what musical? Granted, like I mentioned before, most of them are going to be their Japanese counterparts. Some of them are English. It's a medley. There's probably songs I forgot, knowing myself. But I think I got a gist. I really did try to do at least 3. Some of these have more than 3. 1, 2, 3,
If you
4,
want a little bit more
5.
time, you can take more time.
Oh my goodness. Nah, if anything, I'll probably just talk off the orders that kind of See, because some of it overlaps. Like you have, looking at actors and actresses, you have so many. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I went through all the cast lists.
I applaud you.
Well, I was kind of like going off of your energy. I was like, I know Z's gonna go all out, and I'm gonna match that energy, so let
You
me
know
do
what's so
that.
funny though? I was kind of going off of yours, so like, we can keep it simple. We can just do our top 3. We can like explore some topics here and there. Like we can get a little deeper if we want to. But we can make this very generalized for people that might come in and be new to Mew, don't want to overwhelm them, that kind of thing. That's so funny.
I was like 30 years of content. There's no way to encapsulate it in a top 5 or top 3. And just by listening, as soon as I said like, "Oh, let's do Dark Side Edition songs," I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna have way more than 3 or 5."
You set me up for that one. I was like, "Ooh, villain songs! There's so many villain songs." Oh,
Right.
Oh my goodness. Ooh, I get to read the power of 3. Oh my gosh. Oh, oh my gosh. I'm screaming. Oh, goodness.
Cause I was like battle song, and I was like, "Oh, that's easy." Music Spirit. I was like, "Oh, but I like La Moon." I was like, "Oh, and we are Pretty Guardians. Let me add that one." And then I was like looking at favorite song. I was like, "Oh, we can't be soldiers of love forever." And the battle song, I didn't know that. Let me add that to the list.
There's so many, and it sucks because I think on Wikimoo most of the battle songs that they have listed are like primarily from the Bandai musicals.
Yes.
So, okay, I'm just gonna guesstimate somewhat with the note cables. If they're fighting, if they're floating in the air, then they're fighting. Okay, cool. This is a song now. I'm gonna add that to the list. Ooh, that has me really excited to talk about the 5th gen Nogi Mew that's happening right now. I don't know if you saw the pictures that dropped yesterday.
I did, and I'm not. Okay, we'll talk about it.
Okay. Okay.
I was like, I can't wait to tell Z my thoughts on this.
I can't wait to hear that.
I was like, I wonder if she feels the same way I do.
Well, now I'm curious. Now I'm mighty curious.
Because they didn't, Wikimoo didn't translate those songs. So I was like,
Oh,
sure.
dang.
Yeah, they didn't translate the title of the song. So I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll be winging it. By the time I like finished, it was like 8:40 something.
Dang. I think I was up at midnight doing stuff.
I was like, let me go to bed early so I can get up.
Good. Sleep is so essential. I was working on a lot of different Mooney related things. So I was like, let me just add this to the bunch. Make sure this is all finalized and Gucci for the morning. It's gonna be great.
Then I woke up and I'm like, let me go type out my answers because I'm gonna forget something. I'm not gonna like it.
I love that you did though. This is amazing.
So I was like, I'm gonna share this with Z to make sure it's okay because I know she did so much.
And here I am at the most I think giving 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The most giving 6. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I think the most I've had is 6 in a section. 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3. But you probably have songs that I know I forgot to put on my list, so you're gonna remind me of things.
Okay.
You're gonna remind me of so much. Oh, see, I just thought of the guy. The guy. That's a duet. The guy. Ooh, I know what song I forgot. It's funny because I mentioned them in costuming, but I don't think I have any of their songs on my thing. Watashi Tachi and Sailor Guardians from the Super Live.
Oh yeah.
I know it's harder just because most of the footage, the very tiny footage that we have, is just that song, and I think the encore song, there's not really any visual performances that I know of that we've
and
seen.
The album
it's
is
just
only instrumental.
awful. Yep.
So I was like, I'm not gonna do Super Live because Riona Tatamichi is Tuxedo in Super Live.
Yeah.
And I have her listed on my actor-actress list.
I'm glad you do, because I think I have her counterpart listed online.
Oh my gosh.
We love Riona.
So I'm on X, and oh my gosh. So in the new Sailor Moon art book,
yes,
there's Princess Sailor Moon
I saw a picture and I was crying in the club. I was like, oh, you can't tell me Naoko did not like this show. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that existed. I was crying in the club.
Oh my gosh.
Crying in the club yesterday. I was crying in the club.
I'm sending the picture to the Discord.
Oh please. I saw
I
like
ordered the
screencast
art
and
book, so I'm
lost
supposed to
it.
get it I'm supposed to get the art book. I think either this weekend or next week. I still can't get the musicals on Blu-ray, but I can still get the. I'm so mad that I could not get that Hexology. You know that thing is going for $400 on eBay,
$400.
and I'm gonna get it.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna get it because we deserve it.
100%.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! I'm so glad we're doing this. It has been a
and
rough couple of weeks, so I'm so glad that we're doing this.
Same. Oh, she looks so pretty! Oh my goodness! Oh my gosh! You cannot tell me Naoko did not love this show! Oh my gosh! Get into the details! Yes! Oh, it's so pretty! I'm gonna cry about it some more. Oh my gosh! Like 2004, 316.
And that's like the first like full body sketch of by Naoko Prince Sailor Moon, because I've only seen the little chibi sketch of her.
Same. I
On the
didn't
back
know
of the
that
manga,
first
yeah.
existed. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
I hope Miss Dream got the book because I want them to translate it.
Same.
Yeah, I'm gonna share this picture to the Discord too, because I want to know if you feel the way that I feel.
I feel like we're gonna feel so differently. I have a feeling. Because I've been giddy. I've been giddy.
I have been meaning, like, it's like ever since I saw the picture, I was like, I cannot wait for this podcast because I want to know.
What are the thoughts? I think I've got everything for the most part.
I am ready when you are, so whenever you're ready to start, just do the countdown and we're good to go.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay,
And if you mess up, we just start over, so it's all in the editing.
Excellent. I'm gonna try not to have too many flub ups.
It's okay if you flub up, we can always edit it.
Cool. Okay.
So it's like whenever, so this is just something to note while we're recording. It's like if you flub up or you like jump your word, just like you know, like give it like a 3-second pause.
Just to give you that space to edit.
Yep, and then just start it over.
Okay, I think I'm Gucci. So you just want me to count 3, 2, 1?
Yep. Whenever you're ready.
3, 2, 1.
Moonlight, justice.
Hi, Sailor Guardians! You are tuned into the second season of the Double Moonlight Justice podcast. Moonlight Justice is a fan podcast dedicated to the multifaceted universes of the manga/anime series Sailor Moon. I am your host, Z.
And I'm your host, Grayson.
And on Moonlight Justice, we adhere to the power of 3 principles. 1. Practice controversy with civility. We will respectfully discuss our thoughts and opinions without a feeling of judgment. 2. Things can always be discussed constructively and positively. And 3. We will not engage in racism, xenophobia, phobias, triggers, however these topics might be addressed in correlation with our discussions. With all of that said, let's get started! So how have you been, G?
I'm good. I'm so glad you did the intro.
Was it Gucci?
It was great. You did great. I'm so proud of you.
Yay!
Oh, gosh.
That makes me happy.
I have been good. So last episode, I mentioned that I was going for a promotion. I did not get the job.
Oh no, I'm
But
sorry.
that's okay. It's okay. I did my best. I put my best foot forward. I had some great support, professionally and personally, my family, my friends, my colleagues. I did a great presentation. I just didn't make the top 3, and that's okay.
So good. Better
and
things are in store.
exactly. And that's the message that I've been getting a lot. I was disappointed. I was definitely down in the dumps about it because I tried really hard and I didn't really, make the cut. But the message has always been like, what's meant for you will always find you, and whatever's not meant for you will pass you by, and that is perfectly okay. So that's definitely the message that I'm sending out to the audience, where it's like, if you're not, getting that job that you want, or you're not where you want to be in life, you will get to where you'll get to where you're supposed to be. And all of that, there's a time and place for everything. It'll definitely come your way. Don't beat yourself up. Don't be down. Even if you are feeling down, feel it through. Like, don't try to repress your feelings or don't repress it. Feel it, feel it through. Know that you did your best, and it doesn't, and it's not a failure, it's definitely just a lesson learned. It does not make you less of a person. It does not lessen your character because you did not succeed in something or achieve the thing that you were going for. You dust yourself off, you try again, keep going. I know it's hard when you're in the midst of it, and that's speaking from personal experience. Like, when you're in the midst of those feelings, it's like, you try not to beat yourself up, but it's like, you have to definitely feel it through. You will definitely feel better. Time heals all wounds. Take as much time as you need. You will come out on the other end okay, and you will have learned, and you will be better, and you will continue to grow. So it's perfectly fine. I couldn't have told you that 2 weeks ago. I definitely could have told you that 2 weeks ago. I did take it pretty hard, and it wasn't even about the job. Jobs come, they go. Promotions come, they go. You either get it or you don't. I think that the ultimate takeaway from me was I just didn't feel like the person that was interviewing me really understood my goals and my objectives and my personal work ethic. And that's no fault of their own. They're very busy and have a lot going on. So it's kind of hard to focus on those individuals, especially when you're talking about a department of more than 60 people. So it's like, it's hard to keep track of everybody's individual accomplishments and know everything that they do. But it's just a matter of knowing like how to promote yourself, when to promote yourself, and making sure that you are doing things out of integrity and not for the sake of promoting or getting more money. Like, it's all about, what you do and what you love. So that's definitely what I had to deal with. But other than that, I've been good.
That's good.
Back in the gym. I've been back in the gym for a couple weeks, so definitely feels good to be back in the gym. I'm eating right, except on the weekends because I gotta have my treats and stuff on the weekend.
Yeah, treat yourself.
I had Pop-Tarts this morning.
Not Pop-Tarts.
But yeah, so what else have I been doing? So X-Men 97 is out. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Did you watch the latest episode?
I sure freaking did.
Oh my gosh. Did you boohoo? Was you boohoo crying? Because I was boohoo crying.
I was silent crying. I was like, dang, I didn't know they were going to take this turn. But,
oh my gosh.
Ooh.
They went there. Oh my God. I felt like it was a personal loss for me. Like, I went to bed like, what I'm going to do?
Yeah. Just kind of sulking like, dang, what?
Right.
Just picking up the pieces.
Right. Like, how do I move on with my life?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was great. I was loving it.
Yes, I love X-Men 97. I've been getting my comic books and buying my action figures and stuff like that. The new Sailor Moon art book is coming out.
Yes.
I'm waiting for that to get delivered. I bought some X-Men action figures. So yeah, so it's like, and this is the perfect time to say, like, when you are down in the dumps, treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
Get that toy, get that makeup, get your favorite ice cream or your candy. Splurge on yourself because you deserve it.
You do.
So it's like, yes, and if you have not watched X-Men 97, but please treat yourself to that.
It is wonderful. It's so stinking good.
I'm mad we have to wait once a week for it.
They really said y'all are gonna get your linear functions of television with this show. But what about full binge? No. Once a week.
Once a week. Yeah, and it's during the week and during the gym. So as soon as I get home from the gym, I'm like, I'm tired when I get home from the gym. I was like, I'm gonna go to bed. I was like, oh, it's Wednesday. I'm staying up to watch the X-Men.
Oh, I love that.
So how you been, T?
I have been okay, G. I cannot recall what I said I was doing last podcast, but I'm pretty sure it had to be Tiana related. So I have been working on Tiana. I have been making so much more progress on her. A lot of it I have not shown yet, but it will be shown very, very soon. There's extra little things I have left to get for her that's detail-oriented and related, but I'm making good headway on her because I am hoping to compete with her at MomoCon this year. Yes! I've also been working on my panel stuff because I'll be doing some panels at MomoCon, so that's exciting. Two of them are Sailor Moon related.
Already?
Literally! Oh my god!
You just went to MomoCon.
Oh yes, I think after today it'll be like 5 weeks, so I got like a month and a few days to finish stuff up. But I'm very close. I'm very close. It's just little things, assembling stuff, and I can do try-ons when I assemble the stuff, and then everything else will be Gucci. I pray. But yeah, I'm hoping to compete with her. Like, I'm really, really, really excited with this, and I'm very proud of the work that I have done on her thus far. I have given myself way more... Thank you! I've been giving myself way more backpacks, because I don't really do that a lot when I'm crafting. I'll wait until after everything's said and done. I'm like, yeah, I kind of did good on that. No, I've been doing it in the mist, which I think has been helping my overall motivation. So if you're doing a good job, even if you don't think you're doing a good job, you're doing a good job. Even when you're learning new things, don't be hard on yourself when you're learning new things, because there's definitely been a lot of new stuff that I've had to learn, and it's frustrated the crap out of me, but I've been giving myself grace. Things I haven't done in the past, and it's just made things a lot more smooth. And more efficient in the long run when it comes to doing what I do. So a lot of Tiana stuff, a lot of so many sequins. Sequins are the new glitter for me. They are the new glitter. They will be everywhere. I'm going to apologize in advance. They will be everywhere.
That's really good about saying, like, to give yourself grace, because I have been working on a news story called The Fate of Myu Universe. And I've already gotten some flack from a couple people because they think I'm doing a Steven Universe story. I'm like, no.
No.
I am not doing a Steven Universe story. I've never watched Steven Universe, so I wouldn't even know. So I've watched bits and pieces. I may end up watching it eventually. And let me tell you real quick. So when I worked at the Boys and Girls Club, I had this staff member named Chris. He loved Steven Universe.
He loved
it. We love Sailor Moon. He loves Steven Universe, and he was trying to tell me. And so it's like, I have to love people and their gateway shows, because it really, because they go hard for their gateway shows. And he was like, Steven Universe is better than Sailor Moon. That's how you always know it's their gateway show, because they think it's better than anything else out there. And so I'm like, okay. And I saw it and I was like, I can't agree with that assessment. I can't agree with that assessment. It's better than Sailor Moon. And for me, I've always been a person about animation style. So usually something that's visually appealing to me is what also draws me to the story. So when I first saw Steven Universe, it's part of a different era of Cartoon Network than I was a part of.
Yeah.
because Cartoon Network was Sailor Moon. I mean, yeah, Toonami. So Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball, Inuyasha. You know,
Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yu Yu Hakusho. Like a lot of anime were prominent during the Toonami 1999-2000 era. So by the time Steven Universe came along, the animation quality was completely different compared to. So it felt more in lines with some of the Cartoon Network originals like Powerpuff Girls, Samurai Jack, where the animation wasn't as detailed as the anime that they were showing. It was more simpler animation.
Yes.
So for me, it's just like it was hard for me to get into the style. But after like seeing some of like Rebecca Sugar's TikToks, and seeing some of the lore, like I love Rose Quartz.
Yes.
I think she's beautiful. I think she's beautiful, and I'm like getting bits and pieces of the story as I've like. So I'm getting more and more Steven Universe on my FYP, is what I'm saying. So I'm like, oh, what's this? So I'm like learning about like Pink Diamond and White Diamond and Yellow Diamond and, you know, Garnet and Ruby and Sapphire. And I was like, what?
Whoops.
So I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna have to watch the show because now I'm interested. And I think that's something that people need to learn as well. Whereas like everything, like, you know, especially when it comes to new media, old media, you have to, I think it's better when you come into things on your own rather than hopping on the hype and the trend train and trying to catch up or keep up with trends. Just fall into it when you are ready for it, you know? Because it's like, yeah, Steven Universe, like when I worked at the Boys and Girls Club, that was like almost a decade ago.
Oh gosh.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. It's like I have been working for I've been working at my current job for 7 years. I worked at the Boys and Girls Club 3 years before that. So it's been about 10 years since I even first heard of Steven Universe. And here I am 10 years later, and I'm like, oh, though this is Steven Universe. Okay, I think I can get into it. I think it's just like one of those things where it's like you have to like let people come into series on their own and get their own understanding rather than trying to cram a whole bunch of lore and understanding on them all at once. Because I think that's one of the reasons why I stepped away from Steven Universe, because it was too much all at once. Well, this person's like, you know, that person tries to tell you everything that's going on. You're like, you're telling me way too much. This sounds so confusing. I don't want to do it.
I don't want to do this right now. I don't want to do this.
But yes, like all that aside, Steven Universe side, I am writing a new story. It's called The Fate of Myu Universe. And it's about a girl named Mia whose heart gets broken unexpectedly. And her heart gains the power to traverse universes, parallel universes. So as she's traveling through universes, she realizes that she is a part of something bigger than herself. It's a sad but endearing story. I was actually talking to Miracle about it. So I'm really excited. I came up with the idea. So the idea came from something that one of my exes said to me a long time ago, and it inspired the character and the story. And the character design was very interesting to come from because I had no idea what this character was going to look like. So I have posted her on so there's an Instagram for her, there's a X Twitter account for her, and so if you look at the character design, you'll see like some familiar aspects. So she has like star-shaped eyes. And that is based off of a scene from the Sailor Moon Supers movie. And the character's hair is based off of a image of Sailor Mercury from one of Naoko's art books. So it's not necessarily like an exact copy of Mercury's hair, but it is stylized to be similar to Mercury. So there's and even her outfit is based off of some of the designs from the Sailor Moon Supers anime. So a lot of Sailor Moon inspiration, definitely a magical girl story. I'm really excited about it. And then, you know, like the whole Grace thing, like I haven't drawn in a long time. So for me to draw this character, and, you know, Sailor Moon's a big inspiration behind the style of how I'm drawing. And when you're like saying, like, give yourself grace when you're learning new things, where it's like, I am learning new techniques, coloring, and, you know, anatomy and stuff like that. And I try not to be so hard on myself about it because it has been so long. And the artwork is turning out amazing. Like I'm amazed myself. I'm like,
you should
wow.
be. You're doing a great job. Pat your back. It's okay. Pat your back. You're doing good.
Thank you. But yeah, I think that, like when you said, like, give yourself grace, it's like one of those things where it's like, you know, the economy is crazy, inflation is on the rise again.
Oh yes.
You know, and so it's just like trying to find joy in those little things, and just like drawing, especially this character has been very cathartic for me. So it's like really cool to see like her come to life. And I've been even like because it's going to be a manga, so I've been drawing the manga panels. And even the manga is based off of the Tokyo Pop version of the Sailor Moon manga. So the font, so some of the font, the dialogue font and the narrative font is the fonts that were used in that Tokyo Pop version. So it's not even like based off of the current fonts that they use in the current Sailor Moon manga. It's from the old 90s version. So I think that we talked about this with Miracle, where it's like, you don't try to avoid tropes and cliches when it comes to whatever it is that you're creating. You're always going to fall into some type of trope or cliche, but you can still make it your own. So I think that's kind of like where I'm going from, where it's like, you know what, I'm just going to draw what feels good for me, because I think people appreciate that more than me trying to break myself out of this box so much that I'm creating something that I can't necessarily keep up with. So, and I think that applies to people that do cosplay as well. You know, like, you don't have to be the next Yaya Han of cosplay.
You don't.
You really don't. Exactly. Go at your own pace.
Yeah.
You can be super detailed, or you can be simple, but the fact that you took the time to make it says a lot.
Even
if you decide to like buy I buy most of my cosplay pieces off Amazon, and it looks great.
It doesn't make you any less.
Right. You know, like I'm not saying like I made it, but I do. I am able to put things together into a cohesive piece that make up the cosplay.
Yep.
And honestly, that's all you have to do.
100%. Okay, Oji, are you ready to get into Say Review?
Oh yes, because we have over 30 years of Sera Myu content that we can touch on. so much. But I figured before we fully 100% dive in, thought it'd be good to share like some general information about Sera Myu for those that might be coming in and listening and they have no clue what Sera Myu is. So Sera Myu translates to Sailor Moon Musical. So it's just Sailor Moon musicals, to put it simply. And like G mentioned, there's over 30 years of musicals. In fact, August 11th of this year will make it officially 31 years of Sera Myu. The very first ever Sera Myu musical was Gaiden Dark Kingdom Fukatsu Hen, which debuted August 11th, 1993. And since then, there has been numerous productions. To go into the production types, because you'll hear us say Bandai Myu, Nelke Myu, and you're like, what the heck does this mean? That just refers to the company that produced said musicals. So in this case, Gaiden Dark Kingdom is a Bandai musical. Bandai produced those musicals. Amor Eternal, for example, was a Nelke production, so it was a musical produced by Nelke. So, with Bandai,
Bandai went on from 1993 to 2005. After 2005, they went on a little mini hiatus, and the NLK was revived in 2013 and is still ongoing today. Gee, do you think I missed anything? I'm trying to be as general as possible.
No. That was actually that was perfect. I love
Thank you.
that explanation. I just wanted to add on that, Sera Myu is, it is Romanji.
Yes.
So, Sera Myu
Ooh.
So, Sailor Musical. And so basically it was like Sailor Moon Musical, Sera Myu, and Miyu kind of like differentiated it from the series. So you knew what was a musical, what was Sailor Moon, because the sounds were very similar.
Yes.
I think that was very interesting. That was something that was like one of the first things that I learned, because I was like, why the heck are they calling it Sera Myu? Like, I didn't understand Japanese language at that time. So it wasn't until I did like my own like little research. Shout out to WikiMoon.
Yeah, shout out to WikiMoon. 100%. WikiMoon, you're amazing.
So that was one of the first facts that I learned about Sera Myu, was how the name came about. By the time I got into musicals, like it was still within that time frame that the Bandai era was still going on.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it was probably like 1999, 2000, and it was very hard to, like, I couldn't watch. There was no way back then to watch a full musical unless you lived in Japan or happened to get your hands on one of the VHS tapes of the musicals. So like in the days of LimeWire and Kazaa, and we talk about this all the time.
Yes.
Like I was only able to get like certain songs. I was able to see I remember seeing a clip of the Starlights transforming for the first time. That was really cool. From the Sailor Stars musical. I saw the double transformation of Sailor Moon and Chibi Moon in the Super S musical. Supers. So I didn't really, other than like those couple of clips, it was really hard to come back. Like, I saw images of Sera Myu, but it's like without any context, it's kind of jarring to see.
Yeah.
In comparison to the anime, it was like, oh, they have really big shoulder pads. Like,
They're sharp. Okay. They're very, very sharp. And ironically, since you're chatting about like having seen like snippets and pieces of the musicals back when Bandai was still producing, how did you get into Sera Myu? G?
Okay, so I did mention that I got into, like, I've got some tidbits of Sera Myu like during the Bandai era, in the wild west of the internet days, where it's like you literally had to scour the internet to find clips. Like, there was no YouTube. There was, like a lot of the sites that we have now, like Sea of Serenity, Miss Dream, like definitely shouts out to them, because Eternal Ruth, Lonely Distance on YouTube as well. Like, if it wasn't for these individuals, there would probably be no way for us to truly capture what Sera Myu is. So it wasn't until the pandemic that I actually sat down and watched all the Bandai era musicals. I got into the revival of the NLK revival when it started. Was it 2013?
Yeah, 2013.
So yes, that's when I first started watching the musicals. So the NLK musicals were basically my first batch of musicals that I watched and looked forward to faithfully.
Interesting.
And so while I was waiting for those to come out, and like during the pandemic, I went back and watched all the Bandai era musicals. And when I tell you I have and this harkens back to what I was saying earlier, you need to come into things in your own time. So yes, I could have watched them 23 years ago. or it wasn't accessible to me 23 years ago, even if I did want to watch them. But it wasn't until like a couple decades later when it became available and accessible, and I was at an age where I could better appreciate and understand it, because I have posted some clips from the Bandai era, Sera Myu on the Sailor Moon Guide TikTok. And
that's we've had one another.
And the responses are always mixed, because
really?
The responses I get is, "Oh my God, look at their hair!
Oh,
What
the
is
wig!
this?"
Everybody,
Yeah.
the wigs are the first thing.
Right. So, I guess for me, it's like it's hard for people to kind of like take things from the time and era that they came from. So it was very interesting to see kind of like the mixed reviews, even though like the music was amazing.
Oh, the music
People
was
couldn't-
beautiful.
People
Oh
couldn't
my
get
gosh.
past, they couldn't get past the visuals of it. And I think
And I
that's
find
kind
it
of
so-
disappointing.
And I find it interesting just because, like, I like to think that the Bandai Myu, they kind of based themselves primarily off of the 90s, because they really only had the 90s / the manga to go off of. So a lot
Correct.
of the costuming, the wigs, the saturated wigs, like a lot of that kind of stemmed from the source material. They just did what they could, because a lot of that at that point in time, I would say, was revolutionary when it came to how to put something that was 2D on stage.
I agree. And it wasn't, there were no propicas back then, so they had to make the weapons.
Shouts out to the big old moon stick that Usagi
Right.
had to get into a kingdom.
And another interesting tidbit that I learned besides the name was Naoko loved the musicals.
Oh, she did. Oh, she did.
She loved them. And it's very interesting because while she did not necessarily agree with all of the creative choices that the anime did, she was on board with Sera Myu and the things that they did.
100%. You can see her in a lot of the behind the scenes footage, where I believe the omake of Gaiden Dark Kingdom. Like, she's around all the actors and actresses, and she's just so happy and excited. She's like, I can't wait to see you guys in your costumes and be all dressed up. Like, she was so for these musicals.
Right. And we know that the musicals are a direct inspiration for PGSM.
Yes! Oh my goodness, yes. I was wondering if we
Yes.
were going to chat about PGSM in this.
Yes. So a lot of people PGSM is a deep cut of Sailor Moon. You have to really like search for it to find it. And if you weren't a part of that era that kind of like, watched it when it first debuted, it's new to a lot of people. And a lot of people kind of like give it a few knocks because one, it's not 100% based off the anime or the manga. It's truly it's inspired by Tokatsu, Sentai, and the Sailor Moon musicals.
Yes.
So those are the main three inspirations behind it, which is probably one of the reasons why it's such a deep cut, because it doesn't tie to, like, even though it has some mythos and lore origins to the anime and manga, it's basically its own story, its own universe. And I think that's one of the reasons why Naoko liked it as well, because she was directly involved in the production of PGSM. And while it did initially follow like maybe the first 3-4 acts of the manga, it basically diverged and created its own path and story and universe and lore. And interesting fact, one of the characters has one of the actresses' name for the musical.
Yes.
Kuroki Mio, who is a villain in PGSM, shares the same last name as Marina Kuroki, who is the 4th stage Bandai era actress for Sailor Moon.
Speaking of stages, going to go ahead and throw that in there.
Yes.
When we talk about stages, at least for this podcast, stages will refer to the different Moon actress that played a particular performance at that point in time. So,
Correct.
For example, Anza, she's the 1st stage, Fuminahara, 2nd stage, and so forth.
Yes.
Tossing that out there.
Yes, and so we'll also do that for Nelke too, because Nelke is probably broken up into 3 stages because there are 3 actresses that played Sailor Moon.
Yes.
And Nogi Miyu, not necessarily based off of. Well, yeah, it would be the same thing, technically. Stages, because
I
I think
thought
there's
by
like
teams, honestly.
teams and stages, because there's 2 teams per stage and there's 2 different actresses for each one. So there was the first version of Nogi Miyu, which had Team Moon and Team Star, and then there was a second, the 2019 version, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
2019.
so that can be considered the second stage, was 2019 version. And then we have technically a third stage coming into production, which would be the 2024 5th generation version.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we will definitely try to make sure that we are mentioning what stage and what era of the musical that we're talking about. So if you guys ever decide to look it up, that you'll be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my information came from the musical section of wikimoon.org. So if you're ever interested in finding more about the musicals, you could definitely go to Wikimoon. It breaks it down by soundtrack, stage, the different versions. So you're more than welcome to do that. Miss Dream is a good source for musical songs and lyrics. And Sea of Serenity, if you ever want to watch any of the musicals from any of the eras, definitely go to Sea of Serenity. Mm-hmm. They have a website, seaofserenity.net. They also have a Discord.
The Discord is amazing.
Yes, please follow them. Join their Discord. They're amazing. They're actually on our podcast last season.
Yes. Oh, I hope we can bring them back for this season.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll chat about how I got into Sera Myu since you shared.
Yes.
So I, as probably everybody knows, I got into Sailor Moon through PGSM. And back then, PGSM was on YouTube. So I watched all the episodes on YouTube. So therefore, that kind of curated a lot of Sailor Moon related stuff on my feed. That brought up the Bandai musicals. So I watched, I want to say it was Usagi. Hold on. So I want to make sure I'm saying this correctly. I know Senshi Inomichi, I believe, was the first musical that I watched regarding in general. And then from there...
is that the S musical?
I believe it's S.
Okay, so if you ever want to look it up, it's called The Path to the Warrior of Love.
Yes.
That was the first musical that you watched.
So I watched that one. Yes, I believe so. I have very vivid memories of watching that one, and that's the one that I remember most of the songs from. It was very, I don't know, I see a lot of green, I see a lot of funny jokes and references. I'm like, this is the one. I like this one. It had a lot of flying in it too, so I guess that's why I clung to it. But also at that point in time, I was getting into Crystal, so I was able to find the Nelke musicals. And I want to say by that point in time, Petite Étrangère, which is the second within the Nelke new revival, had just came out or had been out for a hot minute. So I was able to catch up on those and watch the rest of them as they came out. So very straightforward. Shouts out to YouTube. Shouts out to PGSM. But I watched all the Bandai Myu after I watched that first initial one, and then I was able to kind of mingle with the Nelke Muse.
Okay. So, since you started with the Bandai, can you tell us your favorite one?
Ooh! Oh my goodness. Okay. I have to do top three.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Yeah, I know. It's so hard when you have so many years worth of Bandai musicals. So the first one is ironically the first one I had ever watched that I can recall, which is Usagi Aino Senshi Imichi, The Path to Become the Warrior of Love. I love this musical so much. It combined a lot of elements from the manga and the anime, as well as with combining original concepts, because, you know, at this point in time, the anime was still ongoing. There's only so much they could do, so they put their own little fun twists and spins on it. A good chunk of my fave songs are from this musical. I think this was really my first intro to how they do stage performances when it came to the little special effects with the gondola dude. The singing was immaculate. I loved the dancing. I loved the wigs. I loved the costuming. It was just so out there. And I don't know. I just loved every little bit of it. So that one is definitely a top one for me. I also love Ian Densetsu. the Kaitaban version of that musical in particular, I want to say the final first stage specifically, which is like the last musical within the first stage. So it was Anza's last performance alongside others. I just love the Stars arc, and I love that musical. I love the songs. Usually within Kaibatons, especially if it's like the final version, they like to throw a lot of ad libs in there. There's a lot of jokes, so it's something that really immerses the audience. And then the third one for me is I Know Sanctuary. I believe the 10th anniversary edition, because because the first act of that musical, I believe, is the musical itself, and then the second act is when they invite back actresses who were in the musicals previously. They do conversations, they sing songs. It's just another one of those audience immersive kind of things, being able to get reacquainted with actresses and actors that you might have seen in previous stuff. They talk about how they're doing, talk about the musicals, all that kind of stuff. So those are my top 3. And that I'm kind of going off of watchability in terms of like, if I wanted to watch a Bandai Mu, which one would I pick?
That's actually really good. That's actually a really good way to kind of
Like
break people
it
into it. So it's like, oh, just watch all of them. And they're like, I didn't like the first one, so I'm not going to watch the rest of them. Like each musical pretty much like stands on their own, so you don't necessarily have to watch them in order to appreciate them. You can start wherever you feel most comfortable.
Truly.
I have to say that my favorite is Ian Densetsu, or Eternal Legend, which is the English title for that. It was probably the first musical that I kind of like caught a glimpse of. And the costuming at that point was probably at its peak when it came to the overall series of musicals. So for me, that was probably the draw. So visually, that was a drawing point for me. I love the way that they did Eternal Sailor Moon's costumes. I was really big into the super forms of the Sailor Soldiers, so I was really excited to see like a live action, because that was pretty much the only live action version of Sailor Moon you could see at that point in time. So it was really cool to see like a live action version of the costumes, because I didn't even really know what cosplay was. Like cosplay wasn't that big around that time either. So it was really cool to see that. It's probably the most faithful at that particular point in time. So Ian Densetsu for sure is my favorite Bandai era musical. Because it's probably the first one, like Yuzi, it was one of the first ones that I saw and understood what was going on. But after watching all of the Bandai era musicals, I have to say, and Z probably knows my answer on this one, but my favorite musical is probably the Transylvania series. I loved the vampire aspect of it. A lot of my favorite songs came from that musical era. Some of my favorite actresses are in there, like, and harkening back to PGSM, Chieko Kueba was Naru in PGSM, but she was also Sailor Mercury in the Transylvania era of the Bandai musicals. So it's really cool to see like some of the like elements. I'm big on 6 Degrees of Sailor Moon. I guarantee you I could probably connect most things to and from Sailor Moon in some way or another. So it's really cool to see some of those. So it's like, we know that Anza sings a card captor song. Yes.
I can't remember the title, but
I don't know the title, but I know the song. So that's the song. And then you told me that Miyuki Kanbei sang another song for a different anime. Was it Mermaid?
Oh, it was Chieko. She sang.
Chieko, right.
Yeah, she sang Sakura Kiss, or Kiss Kiss Fall in Love. From Ouran High School Host Club.
Okay.
And also sings Moonlight Densetsu, I believe, with Kayako Marino. Oh, I hope I got her name right. But she plays Mercury in the first stage, but they sing Moonlight Densetsu together.
Okay, right.
Not the two of them, then it's like a group. Maybe the Sakura Club.
the anthem for Sailor Moon musicals, Lost Soldier, was also
Mhm.
featured in the Sailor Moon anime
Mhm.
at the end of R. Miku Kanbei sang the theme song to Mermaid Melody Peachy Peachy Peach.
Yes.
So that was another. So it's like 6 Degrees Sailor Moon. I guarantee you we could tie it to something.
Quickly, easily.
So
I
yeah,
also sang about
Eternal
Chico
Legend.
Iko.
Yeah, so Eternal Legend for sure.
Mhm.
Transylvania, and I think that's it for me.
For Bandai.
For Bandai, yeah, I think I
Okay.
think so.
Then what about Nelke? Do you have a favorite Nelke Mew?
Okay, so I know that we talked about this before as far as our favorite arcs in
Mhm.
Sailor Moon. So Infinity is always like my favorite Sailor Moon arc, but I did not. So the S version of the Bandai musicals was not necessarily my favorite,
Mhm.
but I did like some songs, some elements of the musical. But I guess for me, it's like the story, like, and we talked about this earlier that the S musical came out during a time when the S and Infinity arc were just being developed. So there wasn't really a lot for them to go off of. So it's kind of like the
Mhm.
story. They kind of had to make up.
Yep, those original concepts started getting brought in.
Exactly. So, but it was like the story was like nothing like S and nothing like the Infinity arc. So it wasn't necessarily my favorite musical from the Bandai era, even though Infinity is my favorite arc. But in the Nelke musicals, they did a great adaptation of the Infinity arc. And I love the way, and Stars is like my second favorite storyline. So I was really happy to see Le Movement Finale like also adapt that story and make it their own. Like, so it's like it had some ties in anime, it had some ties in the manga, but it told its own story.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that was really cool. So those are my favorite. What about you, Z?
I have 3.
I think I know one of them.
Okay. The first one is the Movement Finale. That
Okay.
one is it's just a little nostalgic. There's a layer of nostalgia because I actually got to go see that musical in theaters when they released it over here in the States. So that was a really surreal experience to be able to go in cosplay and see that musical with my close friend Namara, and we were in the room with a butt ton of other Moonies, and just being able to I don't know, it made it more immersive, and I boohooed a lot. So there's just a layer of nostalgia when it comes to Le Movement Finale. Aside from the costuming, I really enjoy the Eternal Fugu that they put Wataru in. I love that revision so much better. Songs are great. It's just like a final hoorah moment because it's like, dang, are we gonna get more Mew? We indeed did, but at that point in time, we did not know.
Right.
Because I don't know if Super Live and No DVs were announced yet, but I love Le Movement Finale. The second one is actually the Kaguya Mew, or Kaguya Hime no Kobikyo, I believe is the full name.
Yes.
If you have seen,
Kaguya's beloved. Yes.
yes, if you've seen like Sailor Moon, Hearts and Ice, if you've seen that movie, it's essentially that storyline. That musical is a miracle because we almost didn't get it, but I'm very happy that we did. Because it was originally supposed to come out in summer of 2019, if I recall correctly, but it got delayed. Then the pandemic delayed it again, and they could have got cut when they were rehearsing. So I'm really, really happy that the musical made it out. I love the costuming, the songs are good. It just seemed like a really, I don't want to say fresh take, but it was something a little different, especially considering it's the first time that we get to see like human Luna on stage, like how she's interpreted. Because Luna had ever only been played on stage in Gaiden Daikinen Fukatsuhen by a woman in a cat suit. So it was really cool to see that. And then my third fave, in no particular order, is La Reconquista.
What?
I gotta switch it up every now and then.
I was wrong.
Ooh, what did you?
For real thought you were gonna say Petit Étranger.
That was the fourth one. That was the fourth one. I'm not lying. But I love La Reconquista. I mean, it's the first musical that brought forth everything. I love Pandemic Tour, which if you see the musical, you know who they are. They're just the generals. It was just the first time seeing a lot of new stuff that hadn't been seen technically since 2005. But Bettina Stranger, the fourth one. It's a solid. It's a solid 4.
Don't try to make me feel better. It was only 4.
That's so funny. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, as we said before, there's over 30 years worth of Sailor Moon. And as we mentioned earlier, there are various stages of the different eras of the musicals. And so the way we decided to break up the stages is by Sailor Moon actress. So we get these questions all the time about who our favorite is. And the truth of the matter is it's really hard to choose a favorite. It changes on our mood.
It's so hard. Yes.
And so rather than choose our favorite Sailor Moon actress from the Sailor Moon musicals, I'm gonna ask Z to rank.
Oh.
Or do you want me to start?
I'll give you my top 3 and call it a day. I can't rank.
So,
oh my gosh.
So me and Z were talking this morning, and so Sailor Moon musicals is Z's bread and butter. It's her jam.
If you will.
Yes. So in preparation for this episode, I was like if this was a PGSM episode, I would probably do the same thing. But I was like, Z loves musicals just as much as she loves PGSM. I can't go in with a top 3 or a top 5 because there's 30 years worth of content to take into consideration. And it's hard to kind of say who's better than the other and stuff like that. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to rank all of the actresses from Sailor Moon because that's what Z would do.
And it's so funny because that's actually not what I did. Because I figured this could be very general with some deep moments here and there, but just to make it general and such for those that might listen in, not overwhelm too much because there's so many different moons, so much different stuff. So I find it so funny that you.
When I tell you I was on Wiki Moon, I told you this. I went through every Sailor Moon musical on the Wiki Moon page. I went through all the soundtracks just to get I got deets on deets for you guys.
You're gonna get a beautiful synopsis from G. I'm gonna be very straightforward. But I can go first though if you want. I can go first.
Okay, go ahead and give us your top 3 then, and let me see. Let me see. I'm wondering who your top 3 are. I know. So I will say this. I know Anza's probably your top. Your number.
You're right.
Yes.
Anza. She was the first stage Sailor Moon. She originated the role. She's the longest running Sailor Moon actress, playing Sailor Moon for 5 years straight. I love my girl Anza. She's just so involved in Sailor Moon wherever you go, whether it's through the anime or through, Crystal or whatnot. I love her performance as Sailor Moon so freaking much. I think she plays a wonderful Sailor Moon. I also think she plays a wonderful Usagi. And she just, you can tell, oh my gosh, I could gush about Hansa for a hot minute. But I love her voice, and she just adds this, a sincerity, I feel, with a lot of the ballads that she sings. And then when it comes to those more emotional moments, there's one scene in particular, I cannot remember the song, but I know she literally screams and transforms into Usagi. Or not Usagi, into Sailor Moon. Never ceases to see, I got caught up. Never ceases to make me cry, because it's just raw energy. I feel like she brings such a raw emotional energy in those scenes and within those moments. But I love Anza. I could go about Anza for a hot dang minute.
I need to find out what that scene is because I don't really know that at all.
I want to say it's Ian Densetsu. I want to say it's in that musical, I think. Because essentially all of the Senshi they're dissipating. They're dying. And I just remember her looking at the screen and she's just shaking her head no. And then she just lets out this yell, this scream that just comes from her soul. Oh my goodness.
Oh gosh.
I'll find the specific scene for you and I will send it to you. Because I'm so serious. It never ceases to make me cry because it's just dang, she's losing everybody. So that's my first one. Second one, Satomi Okubo, who was the first Moon in the Nelke revival. So she played Sailor Moon within the first 3 musicals. So La Reconquista, Petite Étrangère, and then A Nouveau Voyage. Probably butchered those last 2 musicals. But I love her Usagi, and I love her Sailor Moon. I love her dancing. I think her dancing is really, really great. And I think she just adds like a fun little sense of humor to Usagi. I can't help but think of that scene in La Reconquista where her and Mamoru are playing catch. They're playing catch. And
catchy ball, dude.
Yep. And she's just such a ball of energy, and just makes me laugh so much. And then also she was in one of my favorite shows that I've watched recently, which was Miracle Tunes. So it was really good to see her cameo in that. But I think she's a good actress all around. Then on top of that, she came back to play Sailor Cosmos in Le Mouvement Final, which I think is really, really cool. And I think she did a really, really good job playing Cosmos, because that was like the first time ever Cosmos had ever been portrayed on stage. So she ate that up, in my opinion.
And Satomi has said that she's a lot like Usagi. Like, she likes to play video games and take naps and stuff like that. So
so she's my second. And then my third is Sayuri Inoue, who was the Moon within the Nogi musicals for Team Star.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to mix it up a little bit.
I see.
I try. But I love her singing. I love her acting, and she just brings a fun vibe to Usagi when she portrays her on stage. Because the Nogi Mus are just such a different take on the Dark Kingdom, and Loki is kind of sort of the same. But it's just, I don't know. She just brings this fun to Usagi and Sailor Moon, and she just kind of knows when to get serious, when to be fun, when to be happy, when not to be, that kind of thing. So those are my top 3. I'd say in no particular order aside from Hanzo, because I'm so biased. I love Hanzo. I'm sorry.
Oh gosh, now I'm probably just gonna stick to my little top 3 then.
No, don't be shy. Share them all. Share them all.
Okay, well, Anza is also on my top. First actress to originate the role and kind of truly encapsulate Usagi on stage. And I think she kind of like set the bar and the standard when it comes to Usagi/Sailor Moon in the Sailor Moon musical. So I think a lot of the actresses kind of look to her portrayal as like inspiration and kind of like to set the standard for their portrayal of Sailor Moon. So she, first stage Bandai, Anza truly like personified Usagi and Sailor Moon through and through. My second, next in the ranking is Miyuki Kanbei, who played Sailor Moon in the third stage Bandai. And I think that she's a close second to Anza. She truly encapsulated Usagi. She was amazing as Sailor Moon. A lot of my favorite songs came from that era. We Cannot Be Soldiers of Love Forever is my favorite battle song, and Miyuki kind of like captures like the essence of that song by starting out as the first, Sailor Soldier to sing the song, and then everybody else follows suit. And her image song for Sailor Moon, The Last Change, really kind of like captures the evolution of Sailor Moon throughout the years. So I really like that song. I ranked Hotaru Nomoto from the second stage of the Nelke revival. She plays Super Sailor Moon and Eternal Sailor Moon in Amore Eternal and Le Mouvement Final. And Hotaru captures a maturity that you don't really see in Sailor Moon a lot, especially in musicals. I think probably the person that would like fall within that like maturity, elegant portrayal of Usagi/Sailor Moon would be Fumi Nahata.
I love Fumina.
Yes. So I just like even though she had her Usagi-esque moments, there was definitely an endearing quality about Hotaru that kind of like showed that Sailor Moon has gotten older. She's a little bit more mature. Yes, she still has some tendencies to, her immature ways, but it's like she really encapsulated the gravity of what Sailor Moon was dealing with when it came to the battles that she was dealing with and the enemies that she was facing and the loss that she would endure during Le Mouvement Final. Satomi Okubo is after Hotaru for me.
Interesting.
And I'm surprised. I'm like surprised I ranked it that way because honestly, it should be Anza, Miyuki, Satomi, because they all kind of like capture the essence of Usagi the best.
Yeah, I agree.
I think like Anza had a very standard and like what's the word I'm looking for? Consistent way of playing Usagi.
Yeah.
Miyuki Kanbei, same thing. Like there's definitely consistency there, and Satomi is the same way. Like there's definitely a consistency to their Usagi / Sailor Moon, right?
Yes.
Hotaru and Fuminahara kind of like elevate it and bring a certain maturity and elegance to it, but Satomi definitely encapsulated, you know, young Usagi, her immaturity and stuff like that, but she also knew like when to be serious. And I love the way that she sang some of the songs. Like it was just like she was so multifaceted for like what was like a 2-hour musical.
Yep. Like 2.5 hours.
But I think I ranked it this way for a reason, because after Satomi comes Marina Kudoki.
Marina.
Bandai. And Marina is the youngest actress to play Sailor Moon. I think she was like maybe...
Yes, she was 12.
12?
Yeah, she was, when she got casted, she was 12, if I
Right.
recall correctly.
Okay, so yeah, she was the youngest.
Yep.
And she was also the final Sailor Moon actress of the Bandai era.
Yep.
And I think I didn't really have a true appreciation of Marina until I watched the 4th stage of the Bandai musicals. And a lot of like, so some of the songs that she sings I like as well. Like, and it goes to show because Moonlight Justice is our theme song. So
Yep.
After Marina, I have Riko Tanaka, who plays Sailor Moon in the Kaguya, Princess Kaguya's Beloved. And honestly, I don't know how to really like it. Honestly, it was such a blink and you miss it type performance. One of my reservations when it came to the Kaguya Hime musical was the fact is that the cast from the 2nd stage who did Le Mouvement Finale would not continue on as the cast for the Kaguya Hime musical, which is something that I was looking forward to. It was going to be the first time that the Kaguya Hime story was going to be adapted for the stage. So I was very interested to see how they were going to do the adaptation, but I was disappointed to see that none of the cast that had, you know, brought the revival back would be returning for this musical. And I'm pretty sure the pandemic had a role in that. I don't know if they initially had planned to do a new cast or not, so I don't have an answer for that. But Riko definitely, you know, and she definitely had the Usagi-esque-ness about her when she played in that musical. I wish we could have seen more from her, and I have not seen the festival yet, so maybe that's what I
have. I have seen Chronicle. I think she does Gucci. I think kind of like how you said, like seeing more of her. I think we do get to see a little bit more of her in Chronicle.
Right.
Yes.
Fuminahara is after Riko for me, but I think it like after discussing it with you, it kind of fits because Fuminahara is also one of those blink and you miss it type actresses because she did not play Sailor Moon very long. She's probably one of the shortest.
Yeah, she's the shortest running.
Shortest running. And she's also the only one to portray, other than Satomi, to portray Neo Queen Serenity.
She did a wonderful Neo Queen Serenity.
She did. And it also harkens back to that maturity and elegance that Hotaru brings to that role. And then after that, I chose Mizuki Yamashita from the
Oh.
Team Moon of the Nogi Miyu. Because that was the first Sailor Moon that I saw from the Nogi
That's so
Miyu.
interesting. So you saw Team Moon first.
And I think it just goes to show, like, people liked what's her name, Sayuri.
Yeah.
People liked Sayuri better because she had an innocence about her. She really encapsulated that Anza Miyuki Satomi version of Usagi, and Mizuki kind of captured the Hotaru Fuminahara version of Usagi that I like. So I think that's like the difference. Like people love Sayuri because she truly captured what makes up Usagi and Sailor Moon, and Mizuki kind of plays like a more subdued version, and you kind of see that from both casts. So basically my ranking falls off from there because I truly did not watch any of the other ones because I was just
okay.
And then I think that's something that you'll realize from watching like musicals that use the same songs is that you will like one version better than the other, or you like the version that you heard first compared to the original. And that's pretty much my ranking for all the Sailor Moons. Thank you for tuning into my TED Talk. Or should I say Moon Talk?
Moon Talk. Thank you for inviting us. This was great. I'm applauding you.
Oh, there's more to come though.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have chatted about our favorite Moon actresses. So why not go into general fave actors / actresses within these musicals?
Okay, and how did you do yours?
I did it very generally. But I went by highlights. So like characters or actors and actresses that I feel like throughout a particular stage production, I'm like, oh yeah, I like this person. Yeah, I like that person. Like they kind of stand out. So I guess standouts for me.
Yes.
But that doesn't like disinclude, for lack of better words, others. It's just these are the people that I think of and I'm like, oh, I really love their performance. Like they really did something that I enjoy, and it's just like a mark for me.
Right.
So first is Yuta Mochizuki.
Of course.
Listen. I love Yuta so much. So Yuta was the second person to play Tuxedo Kamensama or Tuxedo Mask within the Bandai musicals. He also played King Endymion. I believe he also played Dracula within the Transylvania series. Very multifaceted.
Yes.
And he was also see. Do you want to say it?
No, I want you to say it. I'm so excited.
He also was in Super Sentai. He was the Red Ranger and Zeta Ranger, I believe, specifically is the counterpart to Mighty Morphin. So essentially he was the Red Ranger and Mighty Morphin, but its counterpart is, I believe, Zeta Ranger. Yes. But he was in Power Rangers. The Power Ranger to Sailor Moon pipeline, or Sailor Moon to Power Ranger pipeline, is so fascinating within the Muse and whatnot, because
6 degrees.
6 degrees. But I love his performance of Mamoru so much. I think he and Anza had some really nice chemistry. He has a wonderful voice, like a wonderful singing voice. Like yes,
you can sing too.
Like serenade me, dang. But I love his voice. It's so Mamoru, and just the little mannerisms that he does. I want to say it's in Usagi. Okay, basically the super musicals within the first stage. There's a scene where they're like auditioning for the Dead Moon Circus, and Yuta, having done Power Rangers, I'm assuming, is able to do gymnastics type stuff. And there's this little mannerism that he does after he flips onto stage that's so funny to me, that just stuck out and stands out. And he puts a little into Mamoru, and it's funny to me. So here's my first one. Mikako Ishii, who is Sailor Pluto. She played Sailor Pluto.
Oh, I can't believe I didn't add her to my list. Thank you for mentioning her.
You're so welcome. Mikako, she originated Sailor Pluto within the Nelke Productions and Petite Étrangère and so forth. And she also plays Tuxedo Mask within the Nogimu Productions. I love Mikako so stinking much. She is a big Moonie at heart. I will never
Yes.
forget watching. I believe it was Petite Etrangere specifically where
Yes.
she's introduced, and they do speeches at the end at the last
Yes,
musical.
I know what you're gonna say.
Yep. And Pluto, oh, she had me crying. Mikako had me
It was
crying.
so endearing.
Very. She's like, I've loved Sailor Moon so much. I read the manga and the fact that like I get to play Sailor Pluto and da-da-da-da-da. I was boohooing. I'm like, girl,
She
why
had
are you
everybody
literally
on
me
stage
right
crying.
now? I was boohooing. And she was just like, if you ever feel sad, just say abracadabra because it'll feel better. I'm like, okay, Pluto, I will.
Yes.
She's just so endearing and so
She was
sweet.
phenomenal as Pluto.
So phenomenal. Like, oh my gosh. Okay. So Mikako, and then Yu Takahashi, who was Jupiter in La Reconquista to A Nouveau Voyage. I love her portrayal of Jupiter so much. And I think for me, aside from the first musical, it was the scene within Petite Etrangere. That's so funny that I put that as my fourth, even though I referenced that musical so much. There's a scene.
See?
It's up there. It's on the list. There's a scene where they have to like fight themselves.
Oh, yes!
There's a wrestling match that happens between evil Jupiter and regular Jupiter, and I love Yu's performance so much because he's like, "Bring it on, imposter!"
Yes!
Oh my gosh, it's so freaking funny.
Yeah!
Yes. And then she's like, "Never underestimate a maiden." Oh my gosh,
Yes.
that's like one of my. Oh yes, she.
You
That
just,
sealed it.
Yu Takahashi, like, is probably the best Jupiter I've ever seen on stage. Like, she
Yep.
was feminine yet strong, and she just had that energy about her
She
that just
did.
captured Makoto and Jupiter like all at once. It was just like
So well.
she was made for that
Gosh.
role. Like,
She
I was so
was.
sad to see her go.
Same. Oh my gosh, I love her Jupiter. I love her Makoto. It's just, but that scene in Petite Etrangere, that's like, yep. I already love Jupiter, but that's hilarious to me.
I
great.
love I love that we have the same thought process. When you said that scene in Petite Etrangere, I was like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
gosh.
Okay. And then Yuga Yamato. That's a given with me. That's a given. I love
You like Yuga too?
you love Yuga G? Oh my gosh. Yuga. So Yuga Yamato, she was the first woman to play Tetsuno Mask, and I feel like she played him with such elegance and grace and poise, and the winks get me, and the rose throwing, But it was unique and it was different, and I love how she plays Mamoru and the hugs. So many hugs in that musical, so many hugs. But she just adds like a charm, like a fun little charm to Tetsuno Mask, especially.
She makes him not useless at all. Like,
Cause Nelka, showcases that he has powers. Like he has attacks and stuff, and it's like, what? And how she does them, it's just, it's great. It's great. I'll probably talk about Yuga more when it comes to the songs, but I love Yuga.
yes.
I love her so much. And then Ryuji Kashihara, he originated the role of Kunzai in Gaiden Dark Kingdom. He also played Death Raw and Tiger's Eye, and he played Chaos on stage, and he also voiced Chaos in Le Mouvement Finale. I did not know that. I was like, what? I didn't know that. It was beautiful. I'm like, that makes so much sense. I did not know that. That blew my mind. I'm so happy that he was involved in that. That makes me so giddy. But he's just one of those characters he's everywhere on stage. He does a lot of silly stuff. He does a lot of fun stuff. I kind of put him on par with Yuta in the sense of just how they really like thrive off of each other's energy, because they're often doing a lot of duo roles together.
Right.
But he's great. Oh, I love him. He's great. Just the versatility that he has is amazing.
Right.
And then Hikari Ono.
Oh. Love Hikari.
I had a feeling. Who played Hokusai in Love into Eternity, Saturn's Revival. She also played Taiki/Star Maker. She originated that role. And Prince Demande in the Tanjo Black Lady musicals. Hikari kind of reminds me of Riona a little bit when it comes to versatility, and Riona's actually the last person on my list. But they go hand in hand, just ironically playing the same characters, I want to say.
Right.
But I love her. I love how involved she is in the musicals. I love the different roles that she's played and what she brings to them. When I think of her, I honestly think of her playing Taiki in Ian Densetsu, and the fun little moment that the Starlights have when they're like, "You're the imposter," and they're like, "Nah, I can't be the traitor." Da 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 da. So they play these silly little games to figure out like who's actually the traitor or whatever amongst them. And her performance in that's hilarious. I love her. I love her, and I love Riona because Riona's the last person on my little list. They kind of go hand in hand as well. Yeah.
That's great.
Oh yes.
I really enjoyed that.
I'm so glad you did.
Okay, now I don't feel so bad because I was like, oh.
There's probably more that I didn't add here. Just know there's probably more that I definitely love. But those are just a couple of the ones I'm like, I love their performances. I love the energy that they bring. They really do something different with their characters. You know, they're great. They're great.
Okay, so I'm going to continue off of that energy because I loved every second of that.
Okay, excellent. I'm going to hype you up too.
Right. So some of the people that you mentioned, I took out because we already talked about them, but I may call some of them back. But Chieko Kueba for sure.
Oh yes.
Third Stage Mercury, and part of it because she went on to be Naru in PGSM. So I definitely had to give her a shout out.
Yep.
And she was the first Mercury to sing Drive Me Mercury.
Yep, and I love, oh my gosh.
Yes. Miyaba Matsuda and Yume Takeuchi as Nelke Mercury. Miyaba only appeared in Le Reconquista, and I just felt like she truly encapsulated Ami's characterization, and she was hilarious.
Oh, she was so funny. Like, I'm gonna be sick.
She was so funny, and she was so powerful in the battle when she used Mercury Aqua Mirage against Kunsai. Like, it was just
great.
So good. Like, that's my favorite part of that particular battle song is when she like asks about where Zoisite is, and Kunsai says like, "Oh, he's gone" or whatever, and she like blasts him with water. Like, it was really cool to see that. It's like my favorite part of the musical. Yume definitely like continued that essence of capturing Mercury. I think she like definitely. She was kind of like what I was hoping to see from Miyaba later on, like in the series. So it was definitely good to see Yuma take on the role and kind of like continue that portrayal of Mercury. I don't know the name of the actress that took over for Miyaba, but she was not my favorite. She definitely had like this high cutesy energy to her Mercury that just didn't resonate with me too much.
Gotcha.
I definitely loved Kanon Nanako and Karen Kobayashi as Nelke Mars.
Ooh,
I love the way Karen looked in a more Eternal in the Movement finale, but I love the way Kanon sung.
Yes.
In the first two musicals. So it's like, one for the other. Karen wasn't necessarily the strongest singer, but she was beautiful as Sailor Mars. So it was really cool to see her. I have to say, so you already talked about Takahashi, but I have to give shout out to Ami Nojo, who plays Jupiter in the Nelke and the Nogi Miyu Team Moon.
Yep.
She definitely captured that same Jupiter energy, and I love the way she sings the Jupiter makeup suite.
Yes.
But 6 Degrees Sailor Moon, Ami Nojo also played Utena in the Utena musical.
Ooh, okay.
So it's really cool to see. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I appreciate Ami Nojo as well, because I saw the Utena musical before the Nogi Miyu one. So it's really cool to see her encapsulate those two roles, and the characters' energies are very similar. So I thought it was really cool to see Ami Nojo kind of carry that Utena energy into the Sailor Jupiter portrayal. I love Shiori Sakata as Nelke Venus in the first stage.
Oh yes. Oh my gosh. The whole cast. Honestly, the whole cast with the
Yeah.
first stage for me.
Yes,
They just have some chemistry.
Yes. She had like a cutesy energy about her, like much like the Minako that we see like all the time. But she also knew like when to tap into that leadership role. So I thought that was really cool to see her. And I loved her song in like her verse in the lineup 5 Women of the White Moon.
Oh yes.
So I like that. I love, so speaking of Sailor Venus, I love Hina Higuchi from Nogi Miyu, Teen Moon Venus. I love the way she sang her Makeup Sweet song. And the I don't know the name of the actress that played Venus in Team Star, but if you listen to the two, you can definitely tell like there's a difference. Like Hina has a like she's like bursting with energy, while the other actress is kind of like a little bit more subdued. So I think it's really interesting to see like the dynamics between the two teams. Like they're not necessarily, even though they're playing the same characters, they bring their
They put
own
different takes.
Exactly. So that was really cool to see. I love Kyu Kokodo as Chibiusa in Petite Étrangère. But I love Ari Kanda in Un Nouveau Voyage and Amour Eternal. She took off, like Kyu Kokodo captures the cuteness of Chibiusa.
Yeah.
But the way Ari Kanda sings blows me away.
Yes.
Because I was like, I don't know, she's not capturing the cuteness for me. But when she sang "Who Am I" with Hotaru,
Yes, I was about to bring that up.
I was like, oh my, she blew me away. And when she cried out for Helios,
Yes.
and I lost it. I was like, oh my god, like this
Okay,
girl.
there goes my heart. All right.
Yeah, I was like, she stole my heart from that point forward. And when she sang "Guiding Light" with Hotaru again at Le Movie Finale, I was like, okay, this is my Chibi Moon. I'm not a true like Chibi Moon fan, but she made me one. I have to. It would be remiss of me not to mention now Tagaki.
I was wondering if there were on your list.
Because she is one, like the longest running Sailor Uranus in the Bandai era.
Yes.
She was like from second stage on. And her portrayal as Uranus alongside Yuka Asami truly encapsulated Uranus and Neptune's relationship.
100%.
They were truly dynamic on stage together. Like, you know, Siyu Shiotsuki and Sayaka Fujioki from the Nelke Uranus and Neptune mirror that relationship that Now and Yuka had in the Bandai era. So I think it was very interesting to see like it was like they just were Uranus and Neptune. Like there's no better. I cannot tell you any specific moment, because anytime that they're on stage, they just capture your attention. Like you can't help but not look at them.
Yeah. Like, oh gosh. It's just it's just more immersive. And I also love how involved they are like off stage too. Like,
yes.
Some have done like fan events and stuff together.
Right.
Oh, they're wonderful.
Yes. I love them. And I think that, Sue and Sayaka kind of like emulated that energy, because they definitely gave like Now and Yuka vibes when it came to their portrayals of Uranus and Neptune. I listed Reis Saito and Yuka Hosaka as Sailor Pluto from the Bandai era, because they're the first and the second longest running Plutos in the entire show. And when I was talking about earlier, like, you tend to like the songs that you hear first. These women originated a lot, like Forbidden Hades and stuff like that. So for me, it's like kind of like, it's much like Mikako. They just brought this phenomenal Pluto energy, and I could see why they were the longest running. In addition, like to Uranus and Neptune, why they were the longest running versions of those characters, because they really brought that role to life. Karen Takahashi is probably my favorite Sailor Saturn, and she's in the Nelke first and second stage, but she didn't appear in Le Mouvement Finale. But I loved the way she played Saturn, especially during Un Nouveau Voyage, because she just Who Am I was a powerful song. Like, I love the fact that they incorporated the character playing piano.
Same.
I think it added an extra level of depth to the character that you don't normally see. And Hotaru is very mysterious because there's not really too much you see of her in the manga and anime. Like, you don't know what she does for fun or anything like that, other than being friends with Chibiusa. But it's like,
But even then,
this characterization of her really truly brought a level of understanding to the character that was just amazing. Karen played a great Hotaru, she played a great Saturn, and she played I was really interested to see how they were going to do Mistress 9. So to see her continue on as Mistress 9 was really cool too.
Yep.
So that was just amazing to me. So Yu Shirota, who played Tuxedo Mask in the third stage of Bandai, is probably one of my favorite versions of Tuxedo Mask from the Bandai era. He is part Spanish. He's Spain nationalist. And I just love the way he sings his song, and he brings like this raw energy to his character. His accent's very unique. Like when he says "Tuxedo La Smoking Bomber," like it's very like raw and energetic. And I love Prince of the Earth. I think it's a really cool image song for Tuxedo Mask, and I love the way that Yu sings it. So I think he's really cool. I think he's probably one of the best Tuxedo Mask. Next to Yuta, he doesn't eclipse Yuta in the slightest, but it's like he's definitely a close second.
He's close second.
I definitely have to give like an honorable mention to Sakota Yoshioka. She played Princess Kakyu in Eternal Legend, and she blew me away with was it Toki Michite? The song that kind of like the ending song for the first act.
Oh yes, when they're like, "Oh, I'm here," and
yes,
when
she like yes, Princess Kakyu's first appearance in Eternal Legend was probably it was a defining moment for me when it came to the musicals. Because it is how you close an act, number one, and it kind of like captured a level of appreciation for me when it came to the actual songs and music to musicals. A lot of people don't like musicals because they're like, oh, it's so weird when they break out in the song like out of nowhere. But the Bandai era was very intentional about their musical cues.
Very.
And so it's like, you know, they're incorporating a lot of like music-esque moments in the show, like they were in a show like a variety show or a talent show or something like that, to kind of like make sense of why they're singing songs. And it's like and there are some moments that trigger those musical cues, so it kind of flows better than most musicals. Like I think it's less jarring for some people that like watch musicals and they're like, oh my god, it was all serious, and now they're singing and dancing in song. Like, it just totally throws me off. I also want to give a special mention to Aya Hosoda, who plays Sailor Astarte in Transylvania, the new appearance, the warriors who protect Chibi Moon. And the reason why I'm mentioning her is because she is the first original Sailor Guardian to appear in a musical. She has not appeared in the anime, the manga, or any other series. She is exclusively a Sera Myu character, and she's like a whole new character, and she's also a Blinky. I had to go searching to see which musical, because remember we were talking about all the revisions of
so many revisions.
Yes, and so I had to go and search for this character because she appears in a version of Transylvania, but they kind of like she only appears in one musical.
Dang.
So it's like a blink and you miss it type thing. So it's like it would have been remiss of me not to mention her. And I kind of like want to segue that into my jack of all trade actors and actresses. So we mentioned Yuta.
Yeah.
He played Tuxedo Mask. He played King Endymion / Space Knight, and he played Count Dracul. Riona Tatemichi, she played Rubius, Hawkeye, Star Maker, and in the Nell case, she was Tuxedo Mask and Super Live. She was also Juri in the Utena musical with Ami Nojo, who plays Jupiter in the Nogi Miyu.
Interesting. Okay.
I mentioned, who else did I mention? Let me see here.
I know I said Hikari Ono.
Yes. Ryuji Kasahari. So you were saying like he played Kunzite, Tiger's Eye, Professor Tomoe, and Chaos.
Yeah.
Hikari Ono, she played Hawkeye, Star Maker, Prince Demand. She also played my favorite character, Vampire, who was the daughter of Count Dracula, who's played by Yuta.
See, chemistry stuff.
Miki Kawasaki. I love Miki Kawasaki so much.
Ooh,
and
okay.
She played Asmerod, Chaotic Knight, and Kunzite in the Bandai era. She was also LaFay in the Transylvania series.
Interesting.
And I wanted to give a honorable mention to Akiko Miyazawa. She was the first stage Venus, but she came back as fourth stage Queen Beryl.
What a plot twist.
Right. So it's like headcanons of be aware.
Yes.
And just to kind of close it out, like I love Yuri Nishina, who played Beryl in Dark Kingdom Revival, the first musical. She also came back in Ian Densetsu as Beryl again.
Yes, she did.
Okay, and Keiko Hanayam, she played Kaoli Knight in The Path to Become the Warrior of Love, and she was a standout villain for me. In that musical. I think she's probably my favorite part of the whole musical. It's just like she really like played her villain role like to the utmost peak. Like she kind of she even like overshadowed Professor Tomoe and everybody else. It was just like, oh my gosh, like this version of Kaoli Knight is so cool.
She's the moment.
And Tamami Matsumoto, who originated the role of Sailor Galaxia in Eternal Legend,
Ooh, yes.
She set the bar for Galaxias for me, and her version of Galaxia Gorgeous is probably like my favorite version. She originated the song, and it's kind of hard for me to get into other versions of the song sung by the other Sailor Galaxias because she brought like this deep bravado of a voice to it, and not all Galaxias sound like that. So definitely interesting to see the various interpretations of the characters. Yes, interpretations of the characters and the type of energy that people bring to them. And it's like either you like it or you don't. And you kind of like appreciate it for what it is. You know what musicals you can go back and watch to capture. Like there's more than one way to skin a cat. And so it's like if you don't happen to like one version of Galaxia, there's like probably other revisions that you can go back and watch that you'll probably appreciate more.
Yeah.
So speaking of interpretations, the one thing that we noticed, the one thing you'll notice about the musicals from era to era, from Bandai to Nelke to Nogi Miyu, are the costumes. And Z, I'm definitely interested to hear your thoughts as a cosplayer and a cosplayer maker. Like you make your own costumes. Is which era or which production of Sailor Myu do you like and enjoy as far as the costuming aspects?
Okay, so I want to give a shout out to the Bandai prototype fukus. You can really only see those fukus in promotional images. I don't even know if they ever made it on stage. If they did, it's probably in Gaiden Dark Kingdom, because I know those fukus changed immensely after that first musical. But I'd have to give the Nelke Muse, the first original 5 musicals from the Nelke run. I think they were... Hold on!
You are doing these left turns on me.
Hold on. I got my reasons. Like, hold on.
I was
say
not
those-
okay. So before you jump into it, I was not expecting you to say that at all.
What do you think I was gonna say?
I
No,
truly
serious.
thought you were gonna go Bandai like all the way.
Oh, you know what's so funny? That was gonna be my second choice because but I was gonna say Nelke just because I feel
Yeah.
like they built off of the foundations that Bandai left. I think Bandai was a really good, interesting take on the fukus in terms of the 2-layered skirts, the different beads and trims, the wigs. You know what? I know the wigs get a lot of flack, but my goal whenever I make a Bandai Mifuku for Sailor Moon particularly is when I make that wig, I want to be able to do roundhouse and cartwheels on it and it not come off, because that in and of itself is amazing to me. The craftsmanship of Bandai Fukus. But Nelke took that and just kind of modernized it. So those are my top 2 in general.
Okay.
Super Live gets a shout out. I like to think that the Bandai Muse were made for the stage and like made for performing, and the
Right.
Nelke musicals were made for show, if that makes sense. So like
Absolutely.
the Nelke Fukus, they're really pretty, but
Yes.
I couldn't see Sailor Moon doing cartwheels and those things,
Right.
with that wig alone.
Right.
They are getting thrown around everywhere in the Bandai musicals. They're
Right.
getting thrown, they're getting raised, they're flying in the air. Like they were really made for all around type stuff, whereas the Nelke Fukus, they're very pretty. And I would not want them to get injured in the slightest, because boy howdy, I'd cry. They have such intimate details on those fukus when it comes to how they're constructed and the different types of fabrics and materials that they use. So I would,
And that's speaking from personal experience because you made an LK costume.
I did, and I have plans to make more because I want to make another one. But there's just so many, like from the collars, like how the collars are made, the different trims on the collars,
Mhm.
the tiara construction, the wig
Yes.
construction. Like making a Nelke Myu Moon wig is good Lord Almighty. It's totally different from a typical Usagi one. There's little
Right.
differences here and there. But those are my top 2. Shouts
Okay.
out to the Super Live just because I really think those costumes were really cool.
Yes.
And a really different take on a typical fuku that you would see. And I think those were very durable fukus in the sense of that they probably last for a hot minute in comparison to other ones.
Okay.
And they just aesthetically look really cool. Like I can't help
Yeah.
but think of the promotional material or the promotional videos that they made with Super Live, and those fukus look cool as heck.
Right.
They look really, really cool. And then another shouts out to the Nogimu 2024 version. I won't get into that one right now, but there's reasons why I love those fukus. But those top 2 honorary mentions to the Bandai Fuku prototypes because I love those costumes, and then Super Live and so forth. Those are
Okay.
those are the general thoughts.
Okay, so I pretty much have the same feelings. Like I feel like like I'm a very visual person, and
Mhm.
I am very like. I definitely appreciate it when a homage is accurate to the source material,
Yep.
and just from watching like adaptations of like X-Men movies and stuff like that, where you don't necessarily get to see costumes on page brought to life onto the big screen. It's kind of disappointing when you don't get to see what you've seen all the time, like on TV or in a comic book or what have you.
Mhm.
So when Nelke came around, I was very excited to see an accurate portrayal or interpretation of the costumes
Mhm.
from Sailor Moon, because Sera Myu is not like the source material at all, and
Yeah.
for good reason. It's a stage adaptation, so you're not just playing to the front seat audience. You're also playing to
You're
the
playing
back
to
of the
the
room.
back.
So it's like for me, it's like if you squint really hard, you can kind of like
tell.
see, you can tell, like, I definitely give Bandai its props because it's very creative, and it provides a unique interpretation of every individual costume. So
Oh
it's
yes.
like if you look closely, especially at the like first costumes of the Sailor Guardians, their brooches all represent something different.
Mhm.
So I thought that was really cool. like if you look at like maybe some of the CD covers, like for like the Lost Soldier musical single, you'll see like a first interpretation of the costumes, and before they like made like the boots look like Sailor Moon, like Anza's
They're like
wearing like
they're like
lace-up
dance.
boots with like
Yep.
huge moons on them,
They're like boot
and
covers.
their colors and like even their glove colors are not necessarily 100% accurate. Like Jupiter has pink gloves and Venus has blue gloves, and as the musicals progressed, the colors were corrected to be more reflective of the anime and manga, but while still keeping some of its original. The Outer Senshi's Fukus never change.
No.
They don't become super, and their shoulder pads are the same color as their Fuku, their Sailor uniform. So I thought that was very interesting to see. I didn't necessarily understand it like as a kid, but I definitely understand and appreciate it now more as an adult. Nelke, I was really excited for Nelke because we got to see more faithful adaptations of the Sailor Fuku, and we get to see the Outers become super.
Yeah.
Which was
their
very
big bows.
Yes, they got their big bows. Like it was definitely a departure from Sera Myu, because it's like unless you're truly paying attention, you really can't tell the difference between the costumes.
You can tell the difference with wigs though.
No, for sure.
Just with the colors when it comes to the Outer Senshi.
Yeah,
like,
especially in the
having
Bandai.
black.
Yeah, especially in the Bandai. But in the Nelke, it's like you could definitely, you could definitely tell like there's an upgrade. They have bigger bows and stuff like that. And the photo shoots were amazing.
Oh, they went hard on the photo shoots.
Yes, and and they were not, they were not without their own revisions. Eternal Sailor Moon definitely got an upgrade into the movement finale because she had bubble shoulder pads, and it was really cool to see. But I could tell like functionally the costume was just not.
It was not sound.
Right, and so they definitely changed it, and it worked out for the better. I was wishing that we would get more. I was hoping we would get Eternal.
Same.
Costumes.
Oh, I was hoping. I was hoping with you, G. I was hoping.
Yes, I was hoping that they would take it a step further and do Eternal costumes too. But those musicals, like it was like pretty much every year for the most part. So I can understand why they necessarily didn't have time to do that. So it's fine. I definitely have to give like honorable mention to Kaguya Hime's Beloved. I definitely like the interpretation of the costumes is much simpler compared to Nelke and Bandai. It's actually like probably the second most faithful adaptation. Nelke definitely like holds the bar because not only did it adapt it, it kind of like did its own like level of detail. Like if you look at Super Sailor Moon, she'll have that, and rather instead of it being just a white hip belt, it's like diamond encrusted and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it's got beautiful beating. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Beating and like you were saying, like the collar trim and stuff like that. Yep. The Kaguya Hime musical kind of like does away with all of that. Like other than the sequins and gemstones that they put on the sailor collar and the dress, there really wasn't much of a variation to the costumes. I think it may be a bit confusing to people that watch the Nelke because it doesn't necessarily follow any type of formula. It's kind of a standalone
thing,
like play musical because all the Senshi have heart brooches, but they're not super. They're in their regular uniforms. Nogi Miyu, especially like the 2019 version and before that. I say this the other time. I do not like the clown bows at all.
Not the clown bows.
I mean, that's the best. I mean, this is the best way to describe it. They're bows with these white frills around them, and it just looks like a clown ruffle. I just don't like. I think like and I get why they did the costumes that way because they do a lot of transitions and a lot of visual things. But it's also, for me, it was very distracting because it's like, I can see Sailor Mercury wearing, skin tone socks because she's wearing blue boots underneath those. And, Sailor Mars is wearing her gloves because she's going to transform in the scene. So once her robe comes off, she has to have her gloves on. And I was like, it just kind of took away the suspension of disbelief when you can see little things like that. Like, they didn't even really take out the little featherettes in Sailor Moon's hair. And and it was just like, but in Nelke, she had like little hair covers. Yeah, so it's like she had like little little bun, like hair covered shields that covered up the red Sailor Moon shields under it. So it's like,
it's just clever. It's so clever.
Yeah.
And
it's like so simple.
Yep.
And I think that, and to be fair, it's like, you definitely have to give Nogi Miyu its props because they're the only ones that did transformations in a musical since Bandai. Yeah.
That was visual.
Yeah, and Bandai was a pre-recorded video, and even in the Nelke, like, they did a transformation, but it was like with a body double and blackouts. So that was an interesting take, but it's like, I definitely loved the immersive transformation sequences. I just wish it was a little bit better executed, or maybe using the body double, kind of like how like in Mercury's transformation when they're doing like the ribbons and stuff like that, they could have easily like had a body double like in Sailor Mercury's like school uniform, and then kind of like do like the various switches and then switch them out with the actress that's in the costume. There could have been better ways to execute it, but yeah, that's how I feel about the production costuming. Is like, Nelke definitely takes the cake. Bandai set the standard, and everybody else kind of followed suit after that. I was definitely excited for the visuals of the 2024 Nogi Miyu, and when we talk later about that, we can dig a little bit deeper.
Ooh, so I got a bonus question for you.
Okay.
Because we're talking about costuming, I know this doesn't technically fall into Sera Myu because it's its own little thing, but what do you think about the Shining Moon Tokyo fukus?
Oh, so yeah, Super Live and Shining Moon, I definitely feel like they are amazing. Like, it's just like, they were similar to the PGSM costumes in my opinion. I just felt like they captured a level of detail and paid homage to the original source. I just like and I guess for me, it's like probably one of the reasons why I overlooked them is just because it's like, they're top tier to me.
Yes.
Because of the level of like homage and detail that they pay to the originals. Like, it's like, this is how it's supposed to be. Just do that.
Just do this. Exhibit A, B, C, D, and E.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I was just curious because I know Shining SMT doesn't technically fall into that, but I wanted to hear you. And for reference, I like those fukus for anybody listening.
Shining Moon and Super Live definitely like have the best original costumes. Like, they are probably the most like, they are like probably second to Nelke because Nelke has more detail. But the Super Live and Shining Moon are probably like the most like original adaptation. Like, if you were going to go, like, if you ever needed like a model for what you wanted the costume to look like, I would probably refer you to Super Live or Shining Moon.
Interesting.
I think it's the most realistic take next to the PGSM systems.
And we would definitely chat about that more with the 2024 versions.
Right.
But so, as we've chatted about actors and actresses and costuming and whatnot, let's get into the music. So
the music of the musicals.
the music of the musicals. So it's hard to pick a favorite song or song
out of 30 years worth.
Yes. So we actually have it divided through different sections. So in general, do you have any favorite general songs, or do you want to go straight into battle songs?
General songs. So can you give me an example of what you consider a general song?
Dang, I guess technically even general songs could fall into like duets and trios and stuff. Cause I had Double Moonlight Romance listed as like a general song.
Okay.
That's a duo.
Yeah.
So I guess we could go into battle. We can go into battle songs.
Yeah, so, let's, because I think that's why I put, like, double trio songs group, because that's my general section.
Gotcha.
Because I didn't know where to put it, because I was like, oh. But now that you say that, that makes sense. Yeah. So if you want, we can do that first and then go into battle song.
No, it's okay. We can just go straight into battle, because a lot of the general songs that I have could be fitted into the duo general stuff. So we can Okay. So is it cool if I go first sharing my battle songs?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Okay, so my first one is Sailor War Supreme 1998 or 1997.
And that's why I didn't list it on mine, because I knew you were going to do that.
Yep. From the Sailor Myu Sailor Stars musical. It does get revisions, I believe, within Ian Densetsu. But I love that song. Sailor War in and of itself is a battle song, but I really, really love the Supreme version of the song. I love it when songs do things where they like overlay over lyrics. So one person is singing this, then another person singing a completely different thing. Hamilton does it a lot with their songs. But I love it. I love the song. I love how it's staged, because the song consists of the inner senshi, the outer senshi, and the starlights. So the inner senshi are talking about how they're protecting their princess from this threat, and then the starlights are talking about how they're looking for their princess. And a lot of the melodies that they sing within this song are prevalent in other songs that they've sung in the earlier moments of the show, I guess, for lack of better words. Because I believe the melody that the starlights sing is very similar to Chasing After You.
Right.
But I love overlaying stuff. That is like the quickest way for me to like a song. And then they come in at the end, like all 10 of them. All of them, I can't do math right now. They all come in at the end singing the typical lines that are saying within Sailor War. And then bam, Chibiusa comes flying up like, there's a problem in the 30th century. And then Anza's look, forgot to mention this is in the first stage specifically. Anza's look when she turns around, that look of horror and shock on her face, I don't know. It just sends chills down my spine, and it just kind of reiterates just how impactful this song is to me and to the narrative, because I believe that's pretty much how Act 1 closes within that musical, and it's such a standout song for me. So Sailor War Supreme, I sing about that one all day long. Solar Miracle Makeup is my second, which is from I Know She Inomichi. I thought it was a cute little opening song, and then they do use it for a battle. They fly in this song sometimes, depending on the musical. I believe in the musical that is introduced in, they do fly. I know Jupiter and Venus do for a minute, and then Usagi does at the very end. But it's a cute little song, and it's like, yeah, let's get down to business. It's cute. And then Link from Kaguya Shima Densetsu. I love Fumi Nahara's voice when she does her little mini solo. So in a lot of battle songs, Moon is most likely to have like a little solo voice for a second before the group comes back in. And I love Fumina's tone so stinking much in Link. Like, oh my gosh, it's just one of those things that brings it all together. And then La Moon, which is just a Bandai Mew song in general. La Moon's great. When you hear those first few notes, I don't know, I get chills down my spine, and you just know crap is about to go down when you hear that. I don't know. I feel like I'm about to start battling and fighting, and then they do their little dance, and then the lights go off, and it's just, oh, it's great. Oh my goodness, I'm getting chills just now talking about it. I love La Moon. It's great. And then La Fata Ite Se Senshi, which was in Ian Densetsu. I think it's one of the few songs where they kind of incorporate, I want to say, a different language into their songs, because this is French, if I recall correctly. But I just love the dictation when they sing La Fata Ite. Like, it's just, I don't know. And then they got their little swords and stuff. But I don't know, the diction and how they enunciate their words, especially when you watch like some of the behind the scenes stuff when they're like recording this song. I don't know. It's just, it's great. It's great. It's great. And then last but definitely not least, because I know there's songs that I might have forgot that you might have on your list, is L'Amour de Moonlight, which is also in I Know Senshi Inomichi. I recall being introduced to this song after they saved Chibiusa and they sent her back to the century where she belongs, and they all just have this fun little dance number doing their thing. Anza sings her little solos here and there. Then they had their little dance break. The Bandai Muse had a lot of dance breaks. I can give them some props for that. Like, they had a lot of dance breaks within their songs and a lot of choreography. But I just love how that one sounds, and I love the instrumentation specifically in that song. And the harmonies. The harmonies are wonderful. The harmonies are so wonderful. But those are a handful of the battle songs that I enjoy within.
Okay. All right. So I'm glad that you named songs that I wanted to name but didn't.
Excellent.
I try to stay away from Lost Soldier because Lost Soldier is a staple song.
Yeah, it's like
for all the Sailor Moon musicals, especially in the Bandai era. So it's kind of like, you know, saying you like Moonlight Densetsu. Like if Moonlight Densetsu plays for the first 4 seasons of Sailor Moon, of course you're gonna like the song.
Yeah.
So I chose so for my battle songs I chose Music of the Spheres, which originated in Un Nouveau Voyage. I
love that song.
I love that song. I loved like just the Un Nouveau Voyage had a very, very good interpretation of the song. Like I said, it originated the song. I like that during the singing, they would do the various attack poses.
Yes.
So depending on which version of the musical that you're seeing, you'll see like them all do Sailor Uranus's World Shaking, or they'll all do Deep Submerge together. Like, so they're all doing one of the sailors' attack poses during that song. So I thought it was really cool. The Music of the Spheres definitely evolved as the show went on. So the movement finale was definitely a great interpretation of, including in More Eternal, where they incorporated more sounds and effects in the songs. I thought that was really cool. La Moon for sure is one of my favorites. It definitely it's definitely a hype battle song. Like just the beginning alone gets you moving.
100%.
The one thing I like difference between like the soundtrack and the live version is how they incorporate the action into the songs. If you listen to the soundtrack, so just for clarification, I have the soundtracks. I have all the soundtracks of Sera Myu, but I also have all the live soundtracks of Sailor Moon.
Ooh.
So
okay.
I have like several different versions of La Moon. So depending on which version of La Moon you're listening to, you'll hear different call to action. So I think like in Sailor Stars or in Densetsu, they all do their attacks at one point during the song, which is really exciting to like hear and stuff like that. We Are the Pretty Guardians from Le Reconquista is one of my favorite Nelke songs. I am sad that it only truly appears in Le Reconquista. It does not appear anywhere else. Instrumental plays are in Petit Étranger, but it does not. I think it was meant to be the staple battle song, but they didn't like it, so they changed it.
Yeah.
But I love the song. I really did like it. I wish they would have continued with it.
It was cute.
I really liked it. And it was able to intersperse action and dialogue while also keeping with the song. I just thought it was really cool. I really wish I could have seen more interpretations of it. We Can't Be Soldiers of Love Forever, which was originated in Transylvania's forest. New appearance, The Warriors Who Protect Chibi Moon. It's like one of the first Miyu songs I heard next to La Moon. And it's one of my favorite songs. It's a call to action song. Each sailor introduced themselves, and they do basically a call that like resonates with their powers in some sort of way. So like Pluto will say Hades Impact, Uranus say Rushing Wind, or Neptune will say My Deep Sea. So they all have their own like little call to action, which I thought was really cool. And I like Sailor Call during Kaguya Hime's Beloved. I definitely like, as much as I love Kaguya Hime and I love Sailor Call and Kaguya Hime's Beloved, I do not like the fact that they do not say any of their attacks other than the outer symphony.
That's your only gripe.
That's my only gripe. They don't say nobody gets attacked but Sailor Moon and the Outer Senshi, and I think maybe Tuxedo Mask. But nobody. I was like, it didn't dawn on me until like while I was watching. I'm like, wow, none of them got attacked. Like that's rude. Like they were attacking. They were attacking in the musical,
rude.
but they weren't saying any names. So I thought that was really interesting. But those are all my battle songs.
Oh, okay. That's a good list. Oh my gosh, that's a really good list. Okay, so what about Inner Senshi songs?
I have two.
Okay.
So I love Sailor Makeup from the movie finale. It's probably one of my favorite battle songs with the Inner Senshi. I love the way that they sing the song, and I love the way that they end it when Mercury and Venus attack. It was just,
oh yes,
it's just so cool, and I love the way that they sing together as a group. So it's really cool to see that, the dancing and all that. And my second one is Line Up 5 Women of the White Moon.
Oh my gosh, yes.
My gripe is that I never get a full version of the song in the musical.
No.
Never. Like so in Lera Conquista, Mercury is not transformed, therefore she doesn't sing. She does try to sing.
First try, she's like, wait, what's that part?
So that was funny, but she did not sing. And they did sing a version of Line Up in Petite Étrangère, but it was kind of like a remix version of the song. So while I was happy to see like a version of the complete song, it was not the original song. And it doesn't reappear again until Amor Eternal, which I was excited about. But Venus doesn't get a version of the song. It's like the running gag of the song. Like there's going to be someone that doesn't get to sing their version of the song. The only time you can catch a version of the song is when they do the showcase for the musical. So as much as I love Line Up 5 Women of the White Moon, I'm mad that I don't get a complete version in the actual musical.
Yeah. Dang, let them all sing their song.
Right.
Let them do their attacks, please. They have such cool poses. Let them finish.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so ironically, that was one of mine on my list. Line Up 5 Women. I also love the makeup suite within the Nogi Muse.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes, I love. Oh my gosh, I like introduction songs, and I think that's a really strong intro song for all of the Senshi, respectively. And then Watashi Tashin Sera Guardians, which is the song in Super Live. This is like one of the few songs that you can see video of, because it's just one of those performances that I don't think was really recorded like that. Most of the press stuff that you can find is just of that song and them singing the encore songs. But I love how that song is staged, both how they've done it in France as well as here in the States, you know, when they came over here to do the show in the States and I couldn't go. But it's great. It's a cool little song, and I know you can find the instrumentation of it on those streaming platforms now, which is really, really cool. So just hearing like the off vocals alone and how all the instruments sound, you can hear the water effects or the thunder effects and whatnot of the different Senshi. Like you can kind of hear their elements within the song that you might not necessarily get to hear when you listen to the vocal version of it. So those are my 3 when it comes to inner Senshi songs. So now we got outer
Senshi. Yes, outer Senshi songs, and there's not a lot of them.
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
So I have 3, and I'm not sure if these are the same as yours, but I have Celestial Born.
Yes.
From Amor Eternal, which is sang by Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Saturn. And I think it's the first song that includes all 4 of them singing the song.
I believe so, yes.
I think they sing some versions together as a group in Bandai, but I think like Celestial Born is like the first song that incorporates all 4 of them in a song together. Like I think in the Bandai they sing a variation of Uranus and Neptune song or Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto song, but not a song specifically made for their group.
Oh, there's one Bandai one because it's on my list.
What is it?
Broken Mabus.
Okay. Oh, Saturn's in that song?
Yeah. I think in the revised version she's not in there, but there is a version where Saturn is in it.
Okay. All right. But I think it was originally sung by Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, though, right?
I think it might have been all 4 originally, then they took Saturn out. I could be wrong though, but I just know that there is one where like all 4 of them.
Okay. So Celestial Born for sure. Harsh Saint Cry
Ooh.
from the Princess of Darkness, Black Lady. I just love like the little tango flamenco type vibe to Harsh Saint Cry. And Revival, We Won't Allow Crisis during Dream Warriors Love into Eternity.
Ooh.
I think that was one of the first outer songs that I heard from the Supers musical, and it was probably the first song that I did an anime music video to with Sailor Moon.
Interesting.
But those are my three.
Okay.
And so you mentioned Broken Mobius.
Yeah. And Celestial Born, because I mean the other ones that I have technically fall under solos, duos, and trios. So there aren't really, unless I need to brush up on my Mew, there aren't really a whole lot of songs like you said that have all four. It's usually just duos or the solo or the trio. Because I know
and
there's
you
a few
were right that Broken Mobius is sang by all four of them.
Oh, excellent! Yay! Okay. I love Broken Mobius. I love how they sing it. I love like their individual lines. The harmonies that they all have. It's just a good outer senshi song. It was sad that in the revision, I believe that Saturn's not in it because I think the four of them really made it together. But those are my two.
Okay.
Celestial Born is my Broken Mobius for no.
And so now we're gonna go into our general song section. So this is like,
oh Lord,
duets, trio songs, group songs, or songs that don't necessarily fit into these categories, but we wanted to list them anyway. So I'll let you start.
Okay. So first is Knocking Down Hesitation, which is a Usagi solo song, technically.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because I did not list that.
Oh my gosh. I love Knocking Down Hesitation. It's introduced within the Sailor Stars arc, so the musicals from the first stage, like Ian Densetsu, that kind of thing. But Usagi sings it, so Anza sings it. And it's such a fun little song. I love Usagi's costume because I believe they're like doing I believe they're doing like a talent show type thing. And
yes.
Usagi agrees to sing with Starlight, something of that effect. And she just kills it. Like, she's so shy and nervous getting on stage, but she utterly kills it. And I love how it's introduced. I love her dancing and just the like, oh, it's great. It's great. It's cute. Choreo is very tight. And then it eventually kind of becomes like, not a duet per se, but Seiya sings it with her a little bit.
Okay.
And then I love Wandering Stars, but specifically the ballad version within the movement finale.
Okay.
I wish that was something that we got more of. I think that's like the only snippet that is available to my knowledge. But it's so pretty. I know I do like the upbeat version of the song, but I think the ballad is really pretty, and I think it's supposed to be symbolic because that might have been how the song was supposed to be intended to be sung. Yes. But oh my gosh, I cannot remember Seiya's actress in that musical, but she sings it so beautifully to the point where I downloaded it on my phone so I could listen to it.
Yes, I have it too. So
it's excellent. It's so good.
And let's see. Sorry, I'm looking up the cast person now. So
okay, cool.
It is Meku Harukawa.
Shouts out to you because oh my gosh, you sang it so beautifully. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, the one.
Yes.
Upbeat is great, but the ballad. Can't see my facial expression, but oh my gosh.
And when Sailor Cosmos was getting ready to come back, I seriously thought they were going to sing Wandering Stars or something along those lines. So I was definitely very surprised to hear them use the 90s song. And I'm not necessarily a fan of the remake Cosmos version of the song. I felt like they probably should have kept with the 90s version because it just sounded but once again, it's like that original, like where the song originated from, so you tend to like the original better than the remake. But Starline was a song that was not released in the movie, but released as part of the Cosmos soundtrack, and it was amazing. I'm like, they could have used that in the movie.
You could have threw it out in there. Yeah, so many options. And you went with this one. I have so many more. I'm so sorry. Okay, so Dream Yume wa Okiku, which translates to dreams. Dreams are huge. This is an Usagi Ano Senshi Inamichi. It's essentially a song that starts off with Ami, and then the rest of the gang of the inner senshi join her, and they just kind of sing about their dreams. And Ami dreams of studying abroad, and that's actually how the song ends, because he's like, I'm actually going to study abroad and I'm leaving today, and they're like, eh? But Venus comes in. Venus comes in starting off how, yeah, I want to do all this stuff, and then Mars is like, I want to train here, and then Makoto's like, I want to do this, and then they have these really big oversized props that they dance with that kind of correlate with what their dreams are.
Okay.
But it's a cute, fun, upbeat little song. And then it kind of goes into a completely different thing, because that's when the Tengu start attacking. Oh my gosh, all these are from the same musical. Okay, so Gondola no Koibitio Tachi is a yes. This is one of my faves. It's a duet that is sung by Usagi and Mamoru within the first stage. I love Yuta and Anzu's voices so much. The harmonies are really, really pretty. The fact that they're on a little gondola that they made. And then the little scene afterwards where Mamoru breaks the fourth wall for a moment is really funny, because Usagi's like, Hayaku, kiss me! And Mamoru's like, I feel like we're being watched. And Usagi's like, no, we're not. He's like, no, I feel like we're being watched by so many people right now. And then he looks at the audience. It's really cute and really fun, but that song in and of itself is really pretty to talk about. Misanga, or like bracelets and stuff. And then When Destiny Calls, which is a duet, well, solo/duet within the Naoki musicals. It appears first, I believe, in A Nouveau Voyage. This song is, I think people like to joke that it's cursed because it never gets finished. It never really gets finished. It ends with Yuga Yamato, who's playing Tetsuya Mask in this musical. She does Tuxedo La Smoking, and she usually gets interrupted before she can say Bamba. Either by like a villain or an illness that he has, you know, depending on with the more eternal. I think the only time the song's ever been finished is when it was performed as an encore song, I want to say, but in the musical it has never been finished, which kind of sucks, and it's kind of funny because it literally gets to the very end. But it's a good little solo/duet, and it's a nice little song for Tetsuya Mask, and So the Moon's duet with Mask is really pretty. And then Negai, I believe, Wish, which is in La Reconquista. It's another Usagi and Mamoru duet, if I recall correctly. I think Usagi does a lot more talking in this one compared to singing. But I really like Satomi and Yuga's interactions as Usagi and Mamoru in that song. And then Double Moonlight Romance, which
knew it was coming.
Yeah, which dare I say, it's gotta be one of my faves of all time. I will not shut up about that song. It is a song that appears in I En Ni, which is just a super storyline within the first stage of the Bandai musicals. It's a song that actually starts off with Pegasus and Chibiusa singing. And this is just a little theory I have. I cannot remember this guy's name for the goodness of me. But the very first ever Tetsuya Mask actor, I feel like he sang for Pegasus in that song because their voices are so similar to me, and Pegasus is uncredited. Uncredited in that musical. Like, nobody knows who voiced him, but I have a feeling it might have been him.
Okay.
The voices sound the same to me. But Pegasus and Chibiusa sing, and then Usagi and Mamoru come in to sing, and it's just a song about love and just how it can traverse through decades and decades and years and years, but yet it's still here, and we're kind of the truth in that. It's one of my favorite songs. Like, it's one of my favorites. Oh my gosh, it's one of my favorites. Okay. I'm about to start singing the song. This is straight up one of my faves. And then You're My Universe from the Kaguya Hime musical.
Yes. Love it.
I think it's a really good intro song to everything. I feel like most musicals will have like the little intro song that kind of sets the tone and pace, I feel, for the story. And I think You're My Universe is a really good one, especially since, to my knowledge, it's one of the few musical songs that they released on streaming platforms. So you could hear the short version of that song as well as their version of Moonlight Densetsu, which I don't think is something that had ever really been done before when it came to Mew, especially with vocals. But I love how that song is staged. I think you really get good individual moments from each senshi. And then when the outer senshi come in and Saturn sings that high note, the way I cried the first time I heard that song, it's like, okay, this is kind of a powerhouse song. Okay. It's cute. I really like You're My Universe.
Yes, me too.
Mata Mata Chibiusa Desu, which is a song that's also within Usagi Ai no Senshi Inomichi. It's Chibiusa's intro song. So the gondola song is saying they have a little moment, and then you see the Luna P balloon. It's the balloon in this musical. And Chibiusa literally comes flying in, like on a wire. She literally comes flying in. Mamoru catches her, and then she sings her little song. And I love the little actress that plays her. Her voice is really, really pretty and really, really cute. And she's like dancing on the edge of the gondola, and Usagi's upset. I love how Anzu's playing Usagi in that scene. But it's a really cute little song, and it's a really cute little song for Chibiusa in particular, especially with the vibe they were going for within those musicals. Wandering Stars in general, we already talked about that one. Mystery Sagashi, which is the opening song for Gaiden Dark Kingdom Funkatsu Hen. I think it's so dare I say it's so 90s. Like it just sounds like something that could come out of the 90s anime. And maybe it's because of the little Sailor Moon chorus when it starts. But it's just a bright, peppy, fun song. And it's like, Usagi, you want to be like Sailor Moon, you got to be like Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon's wonderful and amazing, this, and this. And I mean, it's like the first song. It's like the first ever Sera Myu song. And I think they set that bar and they kept bringing it up. Forbidden Hades, which is a Pluto solo. But then Tanjo, Akoku, no Princess Black Lady. I love a lot of Pluto songs. Her songs are beautiful. And I love the tone that she carries when she sings that song. It's just very... It just sits. I don't know how to describe it, but it sits. Like you can just really feel Pluto when she sings that song. And then Chobi, Uranus to Neptune, which is in the musical The Path to Become the Warrior Love, so the same one that the gondola song is within. That is a duet between Uranus and Neptune, and it's the first time they're introduced on stage. So that's like their intro song / character song, and it's so jazzy. Like
Yes.
It's so jazzy and it's so them. And they just improve on it as time progresses when they portray that song in other
for sure.
But it's just so jazzy, like you can't help but snap. I think Uranus actually snaps in the song. It's great. And then last but definitely not least is a Cronus Guardian from Petite Etrangere. That is a solo song that is sang by Mikato Ichi, who plays Sailor Pluto. Just that, who goes there? Like, it's just, oh my gosh. Because that's the first time we see Pluto, and that's her song. And it's just, it's one, again, just a defining moment that's like, dang, okay, this is Pluto. We know who she is. And she just has this, like, she is the guardian of time when you hear that song. And her poise and her presence on stage when she sings it just furthers that. But I love that song. It's a pretty song. And I think that's all of my general songs in terms of solos, duos, and trios. There's probably some that I missed that you have, but those are like my general ones. I'm excited to hear yours.
Okay. All right. So yes, When Destiny Calls, Moonlight Justice for sure. The reason, and so I'm also doing like solos, doubles, trios, groups. I didn't know where to put Moonlight Justice because it's sang by Tuxedo Mask, Sailor Moon, and the Outer Senshi.
Ooh.
So definitely one of my favorite songs. It was definitely the inspiration behind the name of our podcast. You can hear the music in our intro, so it just felt right to kind of like do a call to that. My Guiding Light, Saturn and Chibi Moon from the Movement Finale is definitely one of my favorite duo songs. You're My Universe, Wake Your Dreams was a good song. I really liked it. Tuxedo Mission. It was like one of my first Tuxedo Mask songs, and I love it to death. Last Change, we talked about that earlier. I just love like how it kind of like encapsulates the evolution of Sailor Moon. I Do Justice by Yuta from Legend of Kaguya Island. I really like how they incorporated Space Knight in this song. It's really cool. Forbidden Hades, for sure.
Yes.
I mentioned this earlier, Prince of the Earth by Tetsuya Mask. We talked about this before, but it's like, because the song, the title of the song is sung in Romanji, he says asu, but it sounds like ass. So, so now I can't help. But so now every time I listen to the song, I hear that. So yeah. I love Chibi Chibi from the Movement Finale.
Oh, that's a cute one.
Cute song. Chronos Guardian from Petite Étrangère. I just love. It was a great introduction to Sailor Pluto, and it's probably like one of the most defining moments of Petite Étrangère, and is a great way to introduce Pluto. Who Am I by Hotaru and Chibiusa was a good song during the Voyage Voyage. It was a very painful ballad. It's a very sad song. And I like the makeup suite for Mercury, Jupiter, and Venus.
Ooh, okay.
So that was really cool. Shooting Star from the revival. It's from Legend of the Shooting Star musical.
Yeah.
Wandering Stars from the Movement Finale, and Chasing After You from Eternal Legend.
I love Chasing After You. It's such a good song. It's such a good song. Just that guitar solo, it starts you off. It starts the song off really strong.
Yes.
Like, you know that the starlights are here when you hear that guitar solo.
Right. I really wish they would have stuck with like the rock version for Cosmos, because I just felt like it's just their shtick. Like the pop version of Shooting Star just really didn't
do much.
It didn't do too much for me. I was like, okay, well.
It's a song.
Yeah. It's a nice little callback, but that's all it is. Nice little callback.
Okay, so we've chatted about our solos, double trio, group songs. What about encore songs? Encore songs, for those that may not know, are songs that are typically performed after the musical is over. There's a couple notable, well, I won't say notable ones, but there's a couple of songs that are typically performed after the encore. And usually that's when the audience gets to participate. They clap along. There's certain types of claps that they do during the songs. They do cheers and stuff. It's really fun.
Yes. I'm not really big on encore songs. I think maybe because it's the only time you can get the song like uninterrupted, but there's clapping and stuff like that, jeers and stuff like that. So it's a great call to action song. But I do like Starshine of Love, or I Know Starshine, from the movie finale, because it's the first time that the entire cast sing the song together. So I think it's, yeah, I forgot which number it was called, but it's like every, like, so it's like in MR Eternal, it was a 10-century version.
Yeah.
And so however many are in I
think it's 13.
Yeah, I think it was like 13. So they all sung that.
Yeah.
So I definitely like that version of the song. I like it when they do like Music of the Spheres or We Are Pretty Guardian as encores. I do like We Are Pretty Guardian for sure, because they sing the first half of the song. I don't know if they're clapping or not, but I think they don't clap until the instrumental portion of that song.
Gotcha.
when they introduce the cast. So I think that was one of the reasons why I like We Are Pretty Guardian. But those are the two that stuck out to me. What about you?
Okay. Lost Soldier is technically, it started off as like a service number / encore song, and then it just kind of became the theme of Mew. So I feel like I gotta throw Lost Soldier out there. Like it's the song. The wolf howls that make no sense, but they're in there. It's a great fun time. Also, I Know Starshine, like you mentioned. And then Unmei no Anata I, the reprise, which is a Nogi song that they sing. Yeah. Moonlight, moonlight, starlight, starlight. I like that song. So those are my three. And then La Moon. Shouts out to La Moon. I'll throw that in there as like an honorary mention, because that's a good service number / encore song.
Okay, this is my favorite part.
Oh.
Dark Side Edition. So while there's a lot of battle songs, solo groups, duos, romance ballads, sad ballads, stuff like that, villains get their time to shine too. So I wanted us to kind of hop on the dark side train and see what are some of our favorites villain songs. So why don't you kick us off?
Okay. I feel like ones that I've missed, you probably have. So great. Galaxia Gorgeous, which is Ian Densetsu 1997.
Yes.
That crush, demolish, it eats. Galaxia eats.
Yes.
I have no other notes. Innocent Demand, which is in Tanjo on Koku no Princess Black Lady. Hikari Ono, I believe, sings that song, and I love it so much. so much. No more notes. And then Legend of the Dictator, which is in Le Mouvement Final.
Yes.
Oh my freaking goodness. Galaxia is terrifying in that song. And that song just sets the tone for how she is throughout the whole musical.
Yes.
Like her facial expressions when she's singing different portions of the song and her mannerisms. Like I can see, I'm literally doing it right now. It's just, it's powerful. It's so freaking powerful. And like, she commands and demands attention.
I love that song so much.
Okay, but same though. Literally same. It's so good. Like, dang, Galaxia is a menace and a force to be reckoned with, and she declares it so easily within that song. So
I
easily.
can't believe I didn't mention Koko Isuzu in my cast list, but she was fantastic. She's definitely my favorite Galaxia. Like, she definitely embodied the character, and she sang Legend of the Dictator so well. Like, she came out the gates like ready.
100%. And then she's such a sweetheart off the camera, which is funnier. Mystic Beauty, which is a Noël Voyage. It's the song that which is 5 sings. It's really freaking funny. And then Viva Viva Dead Moon Circus, which is in Amor Eternal. Shouts out to Dead Moon Circus from the Amazon. I can't remember the name of the song, but it's within the Bandai musical. It's a cute little song. Everybody gets to sing it. It's a fun little ensemble song, but it introduces the Hawk's Eye, Tiger's Eye, and Fish Eye. And then Erosion Boy from Lara.
Yes!
We gotta give shouts out to the Pandemic 4. I love that song. And it's just, I love intro songs. Like, most of these are intro songs. They give you insight as to who the character is, and it's like, dang, either you hit the mark or you don't. Right. Everybody does, because everybody's amazing. But that's my list.
Okay. All right. So yes, you definitely touched on some of mine. So
excellent.
I'm glad we had some correlation there.
Yay.
So like I told you, I went through all the musicals and all the soundtracks to get my songs.
I love that. There's some I probably missed.
Starting with the Dark Kingdom revival musical, Darkness is Beautiful by Queen Beryl in the Dark Kingdom. I love that song. I think that was like one of the defining moments for me in the musicals. I was like, oh my gosh, there's some really good songs in here. If you really like, it really like perked up your ears. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a really amazing song. I love Dance of Nightmares from The Path to Become the Warrior of Love. It's sung by Kelly Knight originally, and it reappears in various musicals into the Bandai era. So it's one of my favorite songs. It's very like, it gives me like Dance with the Poppies from The Wiz. Yes. That's the kind of vibe that it gives me. So I love, it's very like seductive, but it was, it's like, it's just very like sultry, and I love the way Killer Knight sings in it. And for the most part, I have liked every version of the song because it's similar in key to the Killer Knight version from The Warrior of Love. So I really like that. I like The Black Dream of the Dead Moon, which is Zirconia and the Dead Moon Circus singing, and it's like my second favorite to the Amazon Trio song from Dream Warriors, Love into Eternity. And so I was like, Mitsuru. It's like, because that's all you
see, you made me remember a song that I forgot in the other list. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Yes,
it's so good. I love Star Hunter from Sailor Stars.
Ooh, okay.
And it's too very bad from Sailor Stars as well. They're very funny
Yeah.
like villain songs. It's Show Very Bad is very hilarious too, because there's so while the person is singing, you hear someone in the background say, "It's Joe Very Bad."
It's great.
So I love Star Hunter and It's Show Very Bad because they're very comical villain songs. All of You Shall Die by Hikari Ono from the Transylvania musical is hands down one of my most favorite villain songs. It's one of the first villain songs that I've heard from the musical. Like it was one of the like La Moon, We Can't Be Soldiers of Love Forever, and All of You Shall Die were probably the first 3 musical songs I heard ever. So I had no context as to what they were for, but I loved All of You Shall Die. It just, Hikari Ono just really just blew that song out of the water. I love Black Moon Signal by Black Lady from The Princess of Darkness. It's a very powerful like ballad intro villain for Black Lady, and it's a really cool song. Get Across the Moon from yes, and that's from the Legend of Shooting Star.
Yes.
I love it's a very powerful, like it's like a classic musical song. Like it has a very powerful chorus, and Galaxia is calling out Sailor Moon or whatever, and it's just like really powerful. Love it. It's like, you know, it's a very commanding song. Like Galaxia Gorgeous and Let the Dictator kind of like encompass Galaxia as a character, but Get Across the Moon kind of like shows like the type of command and power that she has over Shadow Galactica. So I thought it was really cool that they incorporated that song into the musical. Resurrected Tragic Queen from Le Reconquista. I love
How can I
Queen
forget
Beryl.
that one? Oh my gosh.
I love Queen Beryl and Le Reconquista, and she just, much like Galaxia Gorgeous and Let the Dictator, it just encompasses Beryl. And at the end, when she's singing to herself and she's thinking about Endymion, it kind of like touches on like her humanity and her love for that she's never gotten from Endymion. So I really love Queen Beryl in that musical. We Are Your Nemesis from Petite Étrangère. I loved Esmeralda's song in the musical.
Yeah.
It's just so sassy and funny. It's hilarious. But it's a really cute little like villain song, and it's just like it's like a play, like it's like We Are Your Nemesis, but it's like it's kind of like, you know, like it's literally like her telling like we are the enemy, we're here to like take you over and stuff like that. So it's really cool. When Black Lady Sings from Petite Étrangère, I like that song too.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
The Awakening from Un Nouveau Voyage, which is sung by Kaola Knight, The Witches 5, and Professor Tomoe. Kaola Knight in Un Nouveau Voyage had an amazing voice. And when she went into her vocalization, I rewound that song several times too. She stole that song. Memory of Darkness, sung by Queen Beryl from Nogi Miyu. Yami no Kyoku is the name of the song, and it's sung by Queen Beryl, and it's just it harkens back to Resurrected Tragic Queen from Le Reconquista. It's very reminiscent, dark, and beautiful, so it just plays well for Queen Beryl. And Wadeda Dark Kingdom by the Shitenno and Nogi Miyu, very flamenco.
Yes. Oh my gosh,
upbeat.
I love that song.
I love it so much. It's like, you know, like second to Erosion Boy. Like it's just like very like upbeat. It's a very cool song that they sing. And it's a great, and once again, like you were saying, like it's a great intro because they all introduce themselves and stuff like that. So that was really cool. And
man, I love that song.
And I have a couple honorable mentions, and maybe you have some too, now that you said you were writing one down. The Time Is Near,
yes,
from Un Nouveau Voyage. I thought it was a great midway song to end the act. Was it the end of the act? No. It was kind of
this is the one before that, right?
Yeah, there's one. There's one before the midway act closing, but it's kind of like so. The one thing I loved about, like, I love the Infinity Arc. I love Un Nouveau Voyage because it takes the three clairvoyant characters that are able to glimpse into the future or have like extrasensory perception. So Mars, Neptune, and Kelly Knight kind of lead the song and gives a different portrayal of how each group is interpreting what is happening. So Kelly Knight is seeing, you know, the rise of Pharaoh 90 and stuff like that. Neptune seeing the rise of Sailor Saturn, and Mars seeing like the danger of three talismans being brought together. So I thought it was a really cool song, and it was just a really cool way to adapt that psychic portion of those three characters within that story. So it's one of my favorite. And At Last We Meet. Now, this is from The Legend of Kaguya Island. It's a very, very sad song, and it's when like the villains are reunited with their children, the little kittens. And I had no idea what this song was, but I was on TikTok. Someone said, you need to put this song, you know, you need to add this song. I had no idea what the song was. I saw it, and it's the saddest little song. It's beautiful, it's cute, but at the same time it's very sad. But I had to mention it because it's just like so good. What other honorable mention do you have?
Okay, I have two, because oh my gosh, how could I forget these? The first one is Triple Dreams, which is in the same musical that Double Moonlight Romance appears in, and it's a song that is sung by Usagi and Mamoru. They're on a swings, and then all the Dead Moon peeps are singing this song, as well as the turned evil Senshi. So it's three different things happening at the same time. Yeah, I can tell I love when songs do overlaying kind of stuff.
Wow.
But a lot of the motifs that you've heard in previous songs are prevalent in this song, which is really, really cool. Like the melodies kind of interlocking and mingling with one another, going on top of one another. And it's just a cool way to kind of bring some callbacks into previous songs that were sung within that musical. But it's so great. And then they all unite at the end and they say, we have dreams. Like they all have dreams. It just depends on the person as to what their dreams are, which I think is really cool. So cool unifying thing. And then I Miss You, which is a song that I believe is sung within Sailor Stars. Ian Densetsu is a duet between Usagi and Seiya. Very, very pretty. First stage, so it's Anza and the actress that plays Seiya. Really, really beautiful ballad, beautiful duet. Because Usagi's kind of singing about Mamoru, like, I miss you so much. And Seiya is singing about how, like, I miss my princess, but I want to protect you because you're very similar to my princess and you have similar heart stuff. Like, oh, it's pretty. It's pretty. It's pretty and it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. There we go. It's pretty sad. But it's a really beautiful ballad and a beautiful duet between the two.
Okay.
So those are my honorable mentions.
All right, so I have one more honorable mention, Scent of War.
Ooh.
From the movie finale. I think it's my version of the Sailor War Supreme. I just loved the overlapping verses and the interchanging between the various lyrics with the different characters and stuff like that, and some of the plays, some of the movement on stage, like as they're transitioning from character to character and stuff like that. And I have a bonus question for you.
Oh.
What is the saddest song you've heard from Sera Myu?
Oh, I know this one. Okay. Because I couldn't remember what the song was earlier when I was telling you about Usagi screaming. I'm pretty sure it is Sorizoro no Elegy.
Oh, yes.
Yep, that's in Sailor Stars. But like, Galaxia is just decimating everybody, and Usagi is just watching as all of her people, like the people that she cares about most, are dying in front of her one by one, two by two. And then I think, I can't remember who was the last Senshi to die. I think it might have been Fudo. I'm not sure. But after she sings her heartbreaking song, she looks around devastated, like all of my friends are dead. And she lets out this piercing heart scream. And then oh my gosh, that has to be the saddest one for me. That is one that has, like, no matter how many times I watch it, I'm either tearing up or I'm crying, because Anza's performance in that song in particular is moving.
Yes.
Oh, it brings me to tears because it's just like, dang, all of her friends are gone. She just wants to go to school and wait for her lover to come back, and everyone's dying in front of her. But
Yeah,
it's a beautiful song. It's beautifully tragic.
Yeah, it's very, very sad song.
Yeah,
And I have
that's
to
gotta
agree,
be
it
the-
probably is the saddest song throughout the entire musicals. Like I know that, we get a version of that song, and actually we don't get a version of that song in Le Movement Finale because they all die, like the characters die separately in different arcs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Gosh, I can't even think of a song to really
Like related
capture to relate it to. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
Excellent, cool. Because it's like one of the only few, if not the only one, that I feel captures such raw emotion
Right.
in real time in a way. Because like all the senshi, I think in that version, they're all dying at like the same time around Usagi. It's not in sections like it is in the movement finale. So just I don't know. Anza, shouts out to you because that song will make me cry. It's really sad. If you haven't heard it or listened to it, I highly recommend it. It is something, to say the least.
It really is.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, we're getting close to the end.
We are. So we've chatted about songs and actors and actresses. Let's talk about plot for a moment. So what arc or storyline is your favorite to watch within the musicals? It doesn't matter the version, just in general.
Okay. So I've said this before, but I've said this before, but Infinity is always going to be like my favorite storyline of Sailor Moon. Un Nouveau Voyage captures it and adapts it really well. And I love Stars and Le Movement Finale and Eternal Legend capture that story as well. I also like the Transylvania No Mori or the Transylvania Forest stories. It's definitely an original take on Sailor Moon. It's not really tied to any lore, and it creates its own like little storyline. So I like that storyline, and Count Dracula and Vampire. There's also some other stories that get incorporated and readapted in musicals, but those are the three that stand out to me.
Okay. Well, it's gonna be funny. Naturally, I love the Dark Kingdom arc. No matter how many times it's been told, and I want more stuff, I do enjoy the Dark Kingdom arc and the different perspectives and takes that a musical can do. I think one of my top faves is honestly the Nogimyu, and that could just be due in part to how visually stunning that musical is when it comes to portraying that arc. And I want to say doing a take that's a little bit more accurate to the manga / anime, like kind of doing it in terms of the arcs and stuff. And I just love the generals. They're so wonderful. They're my favorite characters. Can't help it. PGSM is the reason why. So I love seeing how they're interpreted in different musicals because they could be wonderful. They could be a boy band. You never know.
Right.
And then also the Stars arc. I love the Stars arc very much. I think Ien Densetsu is probably my go-to for the Stars arc alongside Le Movement Finale. I think both musicals did a very beautiful job showcasing that story and telling that story through their own means. And I think a lot of the songs, despite being different, still have a similar vibe and tone to them. Even with the funny moments, even with the not so funny moments, they just tell that story so beautifully. So I love seeing the Dark Kingdom arc and the Stars arc and also the Dream arc. I'll throw that in there too.
Okay.
Yes.
I definitely agree with the Nogimyu aspect of the Dark Kingdom story. Like visually, especially like when they go to the moon and like when Queen Serenity appears in the crystal, I thought that was very well done. And I like it's very like, even though it's like focused on like what's happening, there's a lot of callbacks to memories and past lives and stuff like that, and them remembering. So that was definitely an interesting take on the story as well. So definitely appreciate the Nogi Miyu. I definitely appreciate the Dream arc too. I think A More Eternal probably captures it the best. I know we talked about this earlier, but S and Supers was being developed for like during the Bandai era, so they really had to like kind of like make it up as they go. So I don't think they were the strongest story wise, and I think because they didn't have the source material to really like go off of, I think that's kind of the reason why. But as like when Mistress Labyrinth comes along and stuff like that, they kind of like the revisions are like where these things come into play. We're like, okay, now we have more material to work with. Let's revise what we have and make something a little bit more cohesive. So that's one thing I like about the Bandai, is that they're not afraid to reinvent themselves and stuff like that. And because even
do something different.
Yeah, because even in some musical, there's some characters that are missing, and then they add those characters back in the revision.
Yep. So you don't see them in the summer musical, you'll see them in the winter.
Right. So speaking of Nogi Miyu, there is a 2024 5th generation Nogi Miyu musical coming out. Yeah. It's premiering next week.
Oh no, it's actually this week.
Is it this week? Oh my gosh, it's this week.
I think it started this week.
Okay, so I think it's starting like in a couple days.
Yeah, something like that.
So starting in a couple days. Are you excited for it? And is there an aspect of the musical that you're looking forward to see, or have you seen something that you want to comment on?
I'm so glad you asked, G. There were many things that I have seen that I would love to comment on. So visuals are a big thing for me, and I think that's a really big thing for the Nogi News, in my personal opinion, like just the way that they use technology to portray a lot of the special effects and stuff and the projections. So I'm really excited to see that. I know some promo images or just images from, I'm gonna say the show, because I really think it started happening a few days ago, have been posted. So we got to see some fukus, mainly all the Inner Senshi fukus. I've also seen what the masquerade scene looks like. There's an image of that got released. And it looks like they're going to be doing some wiring, because Tuxedo Mask and Moon were wired up. And that's something that hasn't been seen, I want to say, since La Reconquista, like flying. Because that's an element that's pretty prominent in musicals, particularly the Bandai musicals. Everybody's going to fly at least once.
Okay.
So I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with that, going off of the images that they've released. Things that I'm most particularly excited for is just how those fukus are not only going to look on stage, but how they perform in those fukus, as well as the songs. What songs are they going to perform? Because, they could do the same stuff that they did in the previous Nogi Muse, or they could do new songs that might have been performed in other musicals, possibly. Because, they performed Lost Soldier as an encore song. So anything could be possible. So I'd say the visuals and just costuming and how it looks on stage and in action are like the two biggest things for me. And music. What about you, G?
I am definitely interested to see how they're going to adapt this arc. We've already seen a difference in costumes. We got away from the clown bows thing. And from the visuals that I did see, like, so as soon as they did the teasers where it was like all the silhouettes of the main cast and Queen Serenity, so we didn't know who was playing who or something like that. We were not sure if it was going to be a continuation of the Nogi Miyu and they were going to go into like, Black Moon arc, right? So we were kind of like curious how that was going to be, and then I think when we saw Queen Serenity, we're like, okay, we know it's going to be based on the Dark Kingdom arc. They started releasing, after that, individual pictures of the various Inner Senshi and their new costumes, which are a little bit more accurate to their manga counterparts.
I think it's the most. I think those costumes are the most manga accurate.
Yes, I would say that they're more in line with like Super Live or Shining Moon Tokyo. I noted that when I'm actually looking at it, so bear with me. When we were looking at the images, I was like, oh, they have, they're not as sequined or glittery as other costumes, but there's like, embellished sections of
Yes.
like their bows and their skirts and stuff like
The
that.
hip rolls.
Yes. So I was really excited to see that in the official pictures. Like Tuxedo Master looks the same, Queen Barrels looks the same. I'm really excited for the Shinno's costumes because they seem to be
Yes.
not as shiny silver or skin tight as the original.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I'm looking at the Inner Senshi's costumes, I can see that they are, definitely manga accurate.
Yep.
Gemmed collar lines. The corners of their bows, rather than their entire bow, is embellished with like matching gems of the color. So like Venus's bow is blue and it has blue gems in the corners of the bow to kind of like give some embellishment and stuff like that. However,
yeah, I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
I saw a picture of Sailor Moon on stage. I just shared it to the Sailor Moon Guy Discord earlier today. And as I'm looking at it, it looks kind of cheap.
But I had a conversation with, shouts out to Lucera Cosplay. We were talking about these costumes last night with the promos, the shots they released. And part of that could genuinely be because they're doing wiring. So having them have a little slack, because I know it kind of bunches up in some spots here and there. I know that's something that Lucera had pointed out, just to make way for that extra wiring stuff to go through and to make it easier for them all to get into and get out of. That could possibly be why they look the way they do. Not to excuse it, but that could be a possible thing. Like these cuckoos were made for practicality with some tiny elements rather than like, no, okay, you.
Yes, and so it's like as I'm looking at it, it just looks like her skirt is kind of made out of tissue paper.
Not tissue paper.
And it's just like, and it's just the pictures. I'm pretty sure it's like a lighting thing, and stuff like that. But it's like
it's something.
I could see, like she looks like Sailor Moon. Like it looks like a good costume. It's just maybe this picture. I can't really make a call on it like, oh, this is gonna be terrible, but it's just like this is just based off of this image, it just looks like her skirt is like made out of like wrapping paper or something like that, because it looks kind of crumpled. But it's like, other than the skirt, it looks like a pretty solid costume, so I'm not like...
And the wig, can we get into the wig for a minute?
Yes.
The wigs have improved so much since 1993, and I really love the wig that they have all of them in, but especially Usagi.
Right.
I love the color. It's really, I think you mentioned this, G, it kind of really gives PGSM, like even down to the promo that they did for this particular musical. Like a lot of the promo kind of reminded me personally of the calendars that they released, I believe, for PGSM in terms of the color schemes and stuff.
Right.
So I think it's a good start. I'm excited to see how they look in action, because stills are everything, but in action, like how's that skirt going to spin? How's everything going to hang? How's everything going to flow? Especially with the wire action that they're supposedly going to be doing. The photos that I've seen.
Yeah, and just looking at the photo shoots and stuff like that, like the material looks shinier and stuff like that. So like I said, I think it's definitely a lighting thing, and maybe she, like maybe they just caught her under the spotlight rather than the actual correct lighting that's supposed to be under and stuff like that. So I'm just chopping it up to that at this point, because it doesn't look like the photos.
I'm gonna share another picture in the chat with you.
Okay.
I'll put it in the Sailor Share one, because this is regarding staging, and I believe it's the masquerade scene. I don't know why I put an automatic spoiler, but we're gonna rock with it.
Okay.
But I love the staging of this. This definitely it looks bigger.
Yeah, it's definitely elevated. It gets away from the block staging that they had with the moving panels and stuff like that. So I'm definitely interested to see like how this is going to work out visually, just based off of like how they're dressed and the gloves, and you can see the featherettes in Sailor Moon's hair. That is going to be typical to Jupiter's makeup suite, and they're going to transform right after that. So I'm definitely interested to see how this is going to play out. But it's like the Shinno are in their uniforms.
Oh yes, hold on. I got
amazing. And they look amazing on the stage.
They do. Like I'm really, really excited for this musical and more, and just the visuals, just from the little snippets that we've seen so far. This is going to be a screen cap, so I'm so sorry. It's not an actual photo, but it's a tease into the generals and what they look like. I'll just drop.
Okay. Oh yeah, I definitely like these costumes better. Mm-hmm. They're still silvery and shiny, but they're not like spandex shiny. They're like embellished. You know, they look almost like white uniforms and stuff like that, but they look really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely interested to see how it's going to be. I don't know how they're going to do like the transformations and stuff like that. Oh,
exactly.
So definitely,
I think it's gonna be good. I think it'll be good. I got faith, and I heard that it's supposed to be streaming. They might be streaming it on Hulu or something like that.
Right.
In the future, so hopefully we'll get to see it because I want to see it so bad.
Well, I know that we can always count on Sea of Serenity to kind of capture. And now that I'm looking at like Sailor Mercury, it's definitely a lighting thing when it comes to Moon's costume. Like I think it's just like it just caught the lighting back because I'm looking at like Mercury, I'm looking at Mars, and their costumes look fine. So it's like I'm glad I'm not like jumping to conclusions like, oh, it's gonna be cheap, because even Jupiter looks really good, and it looks like their costume is kind of like similar. It's made out of like white leather, similar to like Super Live.
Mm-hmm.
So
similar materials.
Yeah,
something that's durable and can maintain its shape and whatnot, and all the other stuff that they probably plan to do within this. Yeah, right. They look good. I love to see the Mask's costume. Like he looks good because I believe some Tarazuka Theater. How do I say that wrong?
Tarazuka?
Yeah. There's some alumni in this musical.
Okay.
That did that. So I'm cool. I'm excited.
Okay. That is so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. Like I'm definitely going to watch and support it how I can. Nogi Miyu is probably like my least favorite version of the musicals. Mm-hmm. But I do like some of the songs. I do like some of the visuals and stuff like that. But it's like one watch through.
Like one watch is good
enough for me. Yeah.
I was the same. Like I really genuinely had to warm up to Nogi Miyu, but it is a really cool way to tell the Dark Kingdom arc.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I know you asked this before, but you said if we were to make a new musical, what would you like it to contain?
My answer has not changed. It is exactly how it is in the first episode. I would love to see a Silver Millennium story arc. So like everything that happens before Sailor Moon, and then it ends where Sailor Moon would start. I put my pitch in the first episode, so you should totally check that out to hear that. But genuinely, I think it would be really stinking cool to see the beginning, like the literal beginning, and you could plant in a lot of different stuff that happens in the beginning that happens in later. So it's like you get to see the before, and then you watch the newer musicals, and it's the after. So you can see Nehelinia in this musical, Beryl, all of them, and then it's just little moments that they can make nods back to if they were to like do a whole new, probably like a 5 Nelke musical run type thing if they wanted to go back and do that. But I want to see that so badly, or a Sailor B musical. But I'd love to see a Silver
Good idea. Yeah.
How about you?
So I'm pretty sure my answer is different than what it was before. But I do know, like, I would like them to take like the current technology, like even like these Nogi Miyu costumes and the current technology to kind of do a revision or a kaiteiban of the Nelke revival. Mm-hmm. Just so it like has a fresher take on it and stuff like that. Like I'd probably like to see like a more accurate Dark Kingdom arc compared to La Reconquista.
Yeah.
Even if it's like similar to like how Nogi Miyu is, where it kind of like introduces all the individual senshi and stuff like that. Because La Reconquista kind of like starts like in the middle of it all. or like in the middle, close to the end. But if I had to choose, I would probably want to see a Chronicle or a I Know Sanctuary type musical. And I was just thinking about this like now, but I would like them to do like almost like a variety show that kind of like encapsulates like the exam battles, kind of like few like funny comical stories like with like a cutesy little battle like Ami's first love, you know, and they're like they battle like various ghosts and stuff like that. Chibiusa's picture diary. I think that'd be a cute like little variety show musical like I Know Sanctuary Chronicle style. You know, whereas like you get like these like in between each like little story, you get like a musical act that like, you know, like with some memorable songs, interviews, and stuff like that. I think that'd be cool to see.
That's awesome. I'd like to see that too. See, hire us. We have musical ideas. We'll set the scene for you.
Right. So I'm gonna set the stage here. No pun intended. So I want you to choose a musical, and I want you to cast the main cast and your villain for that musical.
Oh my gosh. Oh no. Oh my goodness. So any musical?
Any musical.
Any musical. And
Main
it can be
cast and
people in their prime.
From all eras.
Oh my gosh.
You can make your dream cast for the musical you want to see like a Kaitebon featuring your dream Sera Myu cast.
Okay. I'm gonna do my diddly darndest. So, you know what? I'm gonna put a spin on this. You know something that I wish could have happened, and I feel like this kind of got teased. I think it would have been cool to see a musical PGSM style, in the sense of all the PGSM actresses did a musical. Since PGSM and Sera Myu were kind of integrating with one another, I think it would have, like, kind of how like Chieko Kawabe was Mercury. I think it would have been interesting to see the 5 of them play their Senshi counterparts, but in a musical setting. Because it's kind of shown a little bit in the Kiwari Super Live when they sing their songs and stuff. But I think that low-key, that concept in and of itself would have been dope. It's like a musical. But anyways, so we'll say Ian Densetsu. We'll do a Stars arc kind of thing. Anza is definitely going to be one for me.
Okay.
I would love to see Cosmos in this, and we'll give that to... No, we're going to switch that. Satomi is going to be Moon. Anza should totally be Sailor Cosmos. I think that would be a really cool combo to see.
Okay. Considering
that Anza's like the originator of the role.
Right.
And then Riona. Oh my gosh, Riona. I'm thinking off the top of my head. Riona.
I know. So this question was not planned.
Nope. I would like to see her as Tetsuno Mask. I think her mask is good. If not her, then I'll say Yuga as a understudy. And then Mercury. Honestly, when it comes to Inner Senshi within the first stage of the Naokibi productions, I like the 4 of them. So like you,
Shiori.
All 4 of them. Yes. All 4 of them, Inner Senshi. Their chemistry is really, really good, and they already have decent chemistry with Satomi. So I guess the 5 of them, and then Anza is Cosmos.
Okay.
Riona as Tetsuno Mask. Yuga being an understudy. Oh my gosh. The first ever Galaxia. Right? Yes.
Okay.
The first ever Galaxia.
Okay.
No, I take that back. No. The Galaxia. The Galaxia and La Mumu Fanal. I would love to hear her sing.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. I would love to hear her sing
Galaxia Gorgeous.
Galaxia song. Yep.
Okay.
100%. I think, oh my gosh. Chef's kiss. I'd love to see that. What other characters are there? Starlight wise, I would like to see I know I want Ono to be Taiki. I want her to be Taiki. And the second, no, the third Yaten, I want
Okay.
her to be in this. And then I'm like mapping stuff in my head. And I guess the first Seiya as well.
Okay.
So just kind of intermingling. And
Got it.
then I would say that everything else can stay the same.
Okay.
I think it would just be cool to see, and I'm thinking about it, it would just be really cool to see like a Nelke cast do a Bandai musical. So
Gotcha.
same dialogue, probably the most recent revision, same dialogue, same songs, just what would their interpretation and take be? Because a lot of those songs are very emotionally driven. Not saying they couldn't do it, but I would love to see their take on some of these songs, especially Sorenzo no Elegy.
Okay.
I would like I'm intrigued to see how Satomi's take on that song would be, because that is a powerhouse of a song. And then integrating Cosmos into the mix, like including those elements of Le Mouvement Final as to when Cosmos appears, but I think taking more so from the manga as to how she shows up and everything. And then Ryuji is definitely in this musical as well, portraying chaos. I like him personifying chaos. And then Kakuyu. Oh my goodness. Le Mouvement Final's Kakuyu is cool. She can be in this. She can be in this. Oh my gosh. Is that everybody? Did I cover everybody?
I think that's everybody.
I think that's everybody. Okay, cool. That was hard. I feel like I'm gonna have a much more well thought out answer later. I'm gonna be like, guys, wait. But I guess my general premise is just taking actors and actresses, or I guess actresses actually, from Nelke and putting them in like a Bandai type script. So
Okay.
how would their songs sound? What would the staging be like? What would their presence be like?
Right.
So just up touching in a little bit. But
Right.
yeah, that's that is my so many dots scattered everywhere, but they connect to make some kind of point dream cast for a Sera Myu musical, aside from seeing the actresses in PGSM doing like a full-blown musical type thing, because they did it with Kiari Super Live, kind of, sort of.
Okay.
I feel like theirs would be more Super Live equivalent, if not no Gimu. But that's my take. What about you, G? What's your dream cast?
So I'm going to choose Le Mouvement Final.
Okay.
And so let's see here. I'm going to see what I can do to kind of like mix this up. So I think I would like to see Miyuki Kanbei, may her soul rest in peace. I would like to see her be Usagi again. And I probably want Anza to be Cosmos.
Okay.
I would like to see Riona play Uranus.
Ooh, okay.
And I would probably bring back Yu or Yuga as Tuxedo Mask.
Mhm.
For Sailor Mercury, I would like to see Miyabi come back from Liga Reconquista.
Mhm.
I think she'd be good. I would probably choose Kanon or Karen from Mars. Yu Takahashi for Jupiter.
Yes.
I would choose Hina Higuchi to be Venus from Nogimiyu.
Okay.
For Neptune, I would like to see. I think I have an idea of who I want to see. I would choose Yuka Kobayashi for Sailor Neptune, and she played Queen Serenity and Aluminum Siren in Le Mouvement Finale.
Yes.
For Pluto, I would like to see Miyu Hashigaki. She played not Miyu Hagashaki. I choose Iria Yuto. She played Lead Crow. I would like to see her. I would like to see her be Pluto.
Okay.
And I would bring back Karen Takayashi as Sailor Saturn.
Okay.
And for Galexia, I would bring in Chihiro Ando, who played Tiger's Eye in Amor Eternal and Kunsai in No Yumiyu.
That is interesting. I would love to see that.
And I think and then for Kakyu, I would bring back what's her name? I know she's in here somewhere. I would bring back Sakoto Yoshioka. She played Kakyu in Eternal Legend in Densetsu.
Gotcha. Okay.
And for the Starlights, I would probably choose Hikari Ono as Maker, Mika Kawasaki as Healer.
Okay.
And I would definitely like Ryuji to play Chaos again.
Yes.
And for Maker, Fighter. I need Fighter. I would choose maybe Kaeda from Amor Eternal, Jupiter.
Okay.
Or I would choose Shu Shiotsuki, who played Uranus in the Nelke revival, as Fighter.
Ooh, I want to see that 100% actually. Hold on. You're cooking. You were cooking the moment you began, but now you're cooking. Who let you cook?
I think that's everybody. I think that'd be really cool to see.
I want to see that.
Yeah, I think Riona would make a really good Uranus.
Yes.
And I definitely think that, I definitely like to see the dynamic between Riona and Shu as Fighter, like engage in that like dynamic.
That would be great. Oh my gosh. Yeah, who let you cook?
And that's my Dreamcast.
I hope that dream becomes a reality. That's great. That's really cool. I like how we both did the Stars arc though. That's really cool.
Yeah, I like when I was thinking about it, I was like, I want to do the moment for now because it has like the most, like it has a bigger cast. And so it's like, and you can switch up. You have enough roles to kind of like fill in some characters with some of your favorites and stuff like that. The one thing that I do wish, and this is kind of like just me spinning off because we just finished our last question, but I would really love to see like Anza in an up-to-date Sailor Moon costume. You
know what that makes me think of? The fact that we could have got Prism on Ice, but they canceled it, and we could have got to see Anza. Sorry, y'all. This is like something I've been on the pedestal on for like a hot minute. We could have got Anza as Queen Serenity.
Aww.
I would love to see her in an updated costume though. But you just made me think of that because technically, I think Prism on Ice would have fallen under Sera Myu because it would have been a musical on Ice.
Yeah. But that's like the one thing that I do wish. Like, I would love to see. Like, I want to see Anza and accurate. Like, I want to see her in all the accurate Sailor Moon costumes.
Right.
I would love to see Satomi as Eternal Sailor Moon.
Ooh.
I would love to see Hotaru as regular Sailor Moon. It's just like all these cool actors. Like, I want to see Rico in these costumes as well. I just think I think it's really cool. I mean, it's like we were very lucky with Bandai because the Eternal form was something that was something that you led up to. Like she started off as regular Sailor Moon, Super Sailor Moon, and then Eternal Sailor Moon. So we were able to see most, if not all of them, in the same costume. But I would love to see like Marina in like a full set of Sailor Moon costumes. Like I would be down for a Sera Myu lookbook, just like the program, where they just do a photo shoot with all these characters in these costumes.
That would be amazing. Oh my gosh, that would be so cool.
And I wouldn't mind seeing
Exactly.
And I wouldn't mind seeing like an updated Bandai Myu costume where it's like faithful to the original, but kind of like with like more of a like modern take on it and stuff like that, and putting like the modern era characters in those Bandai era costumes.
Oh, it could have been great. They could have done that for the 30-year anniversary. That would have been so cool.
Right, they could have gave that out at the Chronicle.
Literally. Because, like, they don't do a whole lot with those costumes aside from, they're on display in the museum, but, like, they're pretty much in storage or occasionally put on display here and there. So the Super Sailor Moon Fufu from the Nelke, these schools has been on display, and that's an interesting costume to look at up close.
And I really would have liked, like, a 2-page spread of all the actors playing their characters. So all the Tuxedo Masks, all the Sailor Uranus, all the Sailor Moons, stuff like that, like all together in their original costumes, pictured like together. Like it's like I know that not everybody's the same size they used to. You can adapt the costume to their current build or whatever. I would love to see Anza back in her original Sailor Moon costume, and she's standing there with Satomi and Hotaru and stuff like that, like a little tribute to Miyuki and stuff like that. The actors that passed away.
It could have been great, and that would have been such an even cooler way to commemorate like 30 years of musicals. That's so many dang costumes, so many different people.
Right. Like, it would have been a big.
And it would have been different. Oh, it would have been different. It would have been good different too.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll do that.
Been great. Maybe. I mean, we got an art book.
we got a new art book.
Yeah, and I heard that Naoko's been updating the art in the art book.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. So there's some updated pieces and stuff like that. So
that's cool.
Oh my gosh, how long have we been recording? A good couple of hours.
Yeah, a good hot minute. Oh, but it's always fun when you're chatting about Sera Myu. And just think, we technically could have gone so much deeper.
We mean deeper? I mean, we went pretty deep. Like I'm just.
We just like to mention the Prism on Ice and how that was a thing that didn't happen. Like there's so many fun facets into you. There's so many fun facets.
Yes. So I think we have an idea for our third episode, right?
Oh.
Don't we? Didn't we talk about that?
I don't know.
Well, for our next episode was like 6 degrees of Sailor Moon.
Oh yes. Like connecting all the dots. The dots
yes.
are all here.
So before we close out, I just want to say, like, I'm pretty sure our next episode is going to be called, or somewhere along the line, 6 Degrees Sailor Moon. So it's something that I kind of started like as a joke. It wasn't like anything that I was taking too seriously, but I'm a very big behind the scenes buff. So if I hear a voice or see something that looks familiar, I'll look it up. So I'm pretty good at like recognizing voice actors. I love Laura Bailey, Jennifer Hale, just to name a couple of people. But it's like even with Japanese, I'm able to pick up the inflections of certain characters. So like Megumi Ogata, Kotono Mitsuishi, Amy Shinohara, Michi Tomazawa, they're all voice actors in the the anime community, and they have voiced various roles. And so as I'm watching like different anime and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, they sound familiar. Like, oh, it's that person. So it's like Megumi Ogata, who plays Uranus, also plays Pets in Sailor Moon. She also plays Shinji in Evangelion. The actress that plays Anthe in Utena is also the voice of Cyprin in Sailor Moon. So it's like we have pretty much been able to tie a lot of existing anime, new anime to voice actors that are like English and Japanese actors in the community, kind of like tying it back to Sailor Moon. So I think it'd be a really cool episode to kind of like touch on that and like kind of like make the connections. So I think that'll be our next episode. We should also do. We need to play Imposters again.
That was such a silly game. Oh my gosh, it was so fun though.
It was really fun.
It was very fun.
Yeah. So.
That was a good game.
All right. So we're gonna wrap it up here.
Yep, I'll wrap it up.
And we will catch you guys next time.
Yeah, thank y'all so much for listening in. I hope you learned something new or
get the urge or interest to actually get into Sailor Moon musicals.
Yeah, you have 30 years of content. 30 years, pretty much.
So if you're interested in getting into musicals, you can always read up on it on wikimoon.org. Or if you want to watch a musical or two, please go to seaofserenity.net, download. It's a nice little 3 hour movie that you can watch. I definitely enjoy watching them. Z enjoyed watching them.
I love watching them.
If you're looking for somewhere to start, you have 3-4 eras to choose from. 3 eras, basically. Bandai. You can start with the Bandai. There's nice set of musicals that way. You can start with Nelke, which is probably the most cohesive series. It's much. I would say Nelke is like the crystal of musicals.
Crystal vibes, I'd definitely say Nelke.
Yeah. So it's like if you're looking for something short and sweet, but kind of like gives you a good idea of what the story is about, then Nelke is probably the best. If you're looking for just like a one shot, I would definitely say Nogi Miyu is your way to go. They've only adapted the Dark Kingdom arc. So if you're just looking to like kind of get a feel of what musicals are like and stuff like that, definitely go Nogi Miyu route. If you're just looking to kind of get the evolution of the musicals and how it originated and how it has evolved over time, Bandai is definitely the way to go. You can see how it started, you can see how it ends and how it inspired like PGSM and stuff like that. I have not been disappointed with a Bandai era musical. They're all different, even though they are adapting the same story. Their revisions always add something new to the story. The stages, and it's like even with the different stages, you get a different actor or actors. So like they change the cast. Sometimes they change the story or the visual elements, stuff like that. So it's always like a fresh take. So it's always, Bandai. You can't go wrong with Bandai. I definitely pace myself when it comes to Bandai because there's a lot of it.
Yes.
And then another one shot, like if you just want to watch a musical, you can always watch Kaguya Hime's Beloved. It is a Nelke musical, but it is basically a one shot because it doesn't tie to any of the Nelke musicals. It's kind of like stands alone. So that and Nogi Miyu are kind of like your one shots. You can watch those. Anything else, Z?
Just some fun terms to look out for when it comes to Bandai musicals if you want to look into those and get into those and you want to see a little bit more content outside of the musical itself. So you can look up guide videos, and these are, I kind of referenced these earlier, but it's basically behind the scene footage of the making of the musical, so you kind of get to see how the musical came to be, how they stage stuff, the songs being recorded, and it also includes like some fun little interviews with all the actors and actresses. You can see Naoko in some of them, which is really, really cute. And she talks about how excited she is for the musicals and things like that. The Shinshuraku, which is SENSHUURAKU. This is the final day performance. Those are the ones that typically have a lot of the fun ad-libs and moments and stuff. More prominent within the Bandai musicals compared to the Nelke Myu. But if you want to see some silly shenanigans, I definitely recommend the Shinshuraku performances. Most often than not, they have ad-libs and jokes. You get to see the graduating cast members, graduating meaning people that are leaving the performance. It's very emotional and it's very, very fun. That's my 2 cents right there. Okay. Aside from fan conscious.
Also, I would like if you're just looking to kind of like get just something that kind of like encompasses everything.
Mhm.
I Know Sanctuary is a good compilation
Yeah.
musical that you can watch, or the newest Chronicle, Sera Myu Chronicle, which has like I Know Sanctuary vibes. It kind of like tells a story and then it goes into like interviews, music and stuff. I haven't watched it yet. I will be watching it.
I have seen it. It's really, really good. G,
Yes.
I think you'd love it.
I know. I'm just like, when Chronicle came out, they released a Hexology set, which is a 6-disc Blu-ray set of all the Nell K musicals, and I pre-ordered it, and it sold out. And I never got a copy. They refunded my money, and I have never been able to. I was never able to get it then. So I was just telling Z earlier, like I found the eBay listing for the Hexology set, and it's over $400.
So much monies.
I know, and it's like I know it's worth it. It's just like this economy is crazy, so I have to be very mindful of how I'm spending my money. But I will definitely own the Hexology set at one point in time. It just won't be today. But it's been a couple of years.
It's been
since it came out. Dang, that fast?
Yeah.
Wow, I go by fast.
Very quickly.
Yeah, because I think it came out like late 2022.
Yeah, 2022, 2023.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so. But yeah, we will definitely be doing more musical content in the future, and hopefully we'll be able to bring back Sea Serenity. They were with us in our first season. They'll probably be able to give us a little bit more in-depth insight, like Z was saying, digging deeper into the musical universe of Sailor Moon. They may have some insight that we necessarily did not touch on in this episode. We definitely look forward to reconnecting with our guests in the future. But thank you for joining us, and you guys have a great day.
Yes, thank you guys so much. Oh my gosh.
It was during an era of Nickelodeon that I was no longer a part of. So
Steven Universe was on Cartoon Network.
Oh, is it Cartoon Network? Was it on Nickelodeon at one point in time?
No, it's on Cartoon Network.
So just go show what I'm talking about. Don't know nothing. Okay, so not Nickelodeon, but Cartoon Network. Wait, why do I have? Wait, why do I have that? Oh no! I'm thinking of the wrong Yuga. I'm thinking of a different Yuga. I know you. So we're gonna edit that part out.
It'll be a blooper. That's funny.
Yeah.
We're gonna edit that part out.
We're gonna edit that part out because G doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
So you
go
get
ahead,
Yamato. Okay. But he's also
Okay, I know this person.
He